you can join me this evening. So, without further ado, um, I apologize for anybody that was expecting me to do a video Friday. Um, I just decided to take a little break. Fate would have it that my buddy's uh, coworker, the side of the shop that has the instrument, the the tool to turn the hub and the rotor, if need be, is closed and will be till Monday. So again, it was amazing because I went out and my truck wouldn't start. So I popped the hood and I looked and I seen the problem. Took me a minute to figure it out. I got dual batteries, so um, one was fouled out by there was corrosion on one of the cables, and so it wasn't getting a charge anyway. That was the deal. So I wasn't going anywhere to make it to that appointment by 10 o'clock or 11. So needless to say, I didn't go anywhere, and I got a few things around here done that that I needed to get done. So that was really nice. I That offered me a little bit of time to get a break and then prepare also for Sabbath, and which I didn't do a whole lot around here. Did some reading and just a lot of praying and worshiping and just thanking the good Lord for another beautiful day. And then I got my containers. I got some small containers, about 30-gallon little blue drums, like I mentioned before, that I've got for water that we use to flush the toilets and stuff like that. So I went ahead and I got them all bleached out for my trip. Pardon me, I just want to take a little peek at this real quick. So I'm really happy to see Frank from Frankly and Five. Thank you, brother. Um, Not that I was concerned about your safety as much as it's just nice. I You really you spoke to my heart when you were going through that issue there in the hospital, and I was doing a lot of praying and praying for those that were praying for you, and asking that they would do the same, because there's some mighty power in that faith driven prayer, and we're starting to really see it manifest itself in our everyday lives. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you, people. It's amazing. I have gotten up now for 3 consecutive days without my back being just completely. And I know the weather, I know it's starting to warm up a little bit, so that might be some of it, but I also believe it's our heavenly creator that is in your prayers. So the prayers of a righteous human prevaileth much. And again, how do we know what a righteous person is? Well, we go to the word, and Abraham's faith was accounted to him as righteousness. And so I just kind of bank on that through, well, not only through the exercising of faith, but seeing the byproduct of that directly, and now a lot sooner than it used to be. It seemed that the Lord was playing what I thought was kind of a sick little joke on me. It was like he wasn't just answering my prayers right off the bat and giving me, because I had asked God many times in a jail cell, once I just started getting into the belief that there is a God, and he does love me enough to where I'd cry out to him, but I didn't love myself enough to completely to trust him. So I would, if you just get me out of this one, you know. So when I really put my heart into it and start, just like the halls, bless them, they mentioned today uh that, or no, well, last night they mentioned that I apologize. I got a little off track. That the kids, the children, they screamed in their Hadleys here this weekend. But the faith, once I started to exercise some faith and really heartfelt, prayer, and just a commitment, not just a couple days, a week, of one of them fruitless searches, that I always ended up given to the Lord there for a while. And then it wasn't just 3 days. And I was, like I'd said, I was out looking for my pipe or whatever it was. It's just an illustration I'm using. It could be anything back to whatever it was. Kept kept me in the restraints of confusion and just self destruction. And then everybody around me that cared, and they were seeing what was going on. Oh, tonight I got brave. I'm drinking some drinking some extra bold ginger ale. So yeah, it's just definitely a process that I'm definitely willing to. So thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Hall, for it was an awesome teaching Friday last night. And thank you, Millie. You look gorgeous, of course, as usual. Just I can't I can't even go back and I haven't even watched them twice because I couldn't, I wouldn't be able to get anything done. So, and thank you so much. I usually don't share too many videos unless I'm led to. Sometimes I'll even share Lionel's stuff because I love him and his wife so much. I have for years, and but I did with Casey, and my address and phone number again. And the honest part, of course, I'm not going to lie to you. I I hadn't even listened to all of it because I was too busy. I just heard some of your message, and I was led to send her through, and so then I was also led to use my phone because it works on your leaving a message with it. So I just spoke what was in my heart, and out came the, because I'm not afraid of these people. They've known where I've lived for a long time. They've been threatening my family for a long time, my grandchildren and all that. Long time, when Hadley was just before before my baby boy grandson. I call him my baby boy. Just but yeah, oh yeah, they just don't, they once you start to exercise that type of faith, like you said, the prayers of a righteous, it says the prayers of a righteous man, but it's human. The prayers of a righteous human, because they want to control, women. Also, there's an order of things, but better believe there's a reason why it says it's not good for man to be alone. There's an order of things also, and a thought process that goes into a family unit, and it takes the woman collectively just as much as the man. He just has to make the final decision. And although I wouldn't always agree with what my, well, what appear, who I believe is my wife, is always doing in her choices, well, that's love. And so it does say, don't be yoked with an unbeliever. That's not an unbeliever. That's not the case. And I know that. I know her heart, which is really odd. Not so much, but It's like when I seen You Know Who. She was just, I thought it was so tender the way he was holding her hand. Because when I went into the to use the microwave, I seen him on TV because I never watched that stuff. When I first fell, when I first handed myself over to the dragon, I would watch the Tucker and all that because I love all of them very much. But yeah, when I seen that, I was like, that was the only other heart I'd ever seen. And it wasn't something I was wanting to recall. But just like the look in his eyes, and every time I had a vision, it was always the same. It was always the same look. And you're gonna see what look I'm referring to. That's how I know that. It's amazing on how we all work together when we're in unison, in one spirit. Because we're just a vessel, conduit, vehicle, instrument. I'm gonna have to pull this shade here pretty soon because Celly Vision's coming on, people. And I self-conscious. I'll just come run. I don't care about my little old weenie. Did he say that? I don't. I just all because they come by the shrubs once in a while, but they're dogs. They love us. But I'll come out of there if there's no one in there. I'll just come in because I got all my clothes here. This is where I get dressed. Oh man, I need to be able to edit this somehow. Hold on. Never. I'll never edit any of the stuff I do. I never go back and look. Now my son edited all the drone stuff because and some stuff that we blew some stuff straight smooth up. Like that the two halves of that canister, that military canister, that was just for effects. So that little tiny one that just blew it, the little fire. That thing smooth just got disintegrated. I could barely even see where it. Then the one that was on the bottom, it flattened it. I like doing that kind. I'm a pyro when it comes to stuff like that. Whew, I don't know. I'm just. But yeah, thanks a lot, Casey. And you're on the money. You're on the money. There goes that there goes that thresh. It wakes me up in the morning. No. It would help if it wakes me up in the morning now. It's it's better not start acting like Mac, because if it does, it ain't coming back, Jack. No more, no more. No, I don't mind. It's definitely not Mac. Oh, that little thing was like a siren. Oh, it was all cute, fun and dandy when he was chirping the Andy Griffith tune. Oh yeah. But once he started waking me up, like a little siren, no. No, I like my sleep. Oh yeah. Yeah, we all do well with good sleep. We need sleep, people. Unless you need to pull a 72 hour or whatever. If you're on guard duty or something. Then you gotta have some cafe. I made some real weak stuff because I get a bit of an attitude. So, but yeah, it's been crazy. Well, you start digging around in that truck, yeah, and thank you very much, Dean, for that vehicle. That was awesome. Your brother blessed us both with a very nice, still a lot of miles on that. Even my friend who I haven't seen in a few months, but known him all his life. Went to school in Woodside. Like I said, he ended up marrying Stracy. She grew up the first part of her life on Roxbury, the same exact road. You want to hear something crazy? I just realized is Forrest and his parents burnt down the house that I got the book that I took of the people in the Marines where my dad, may he rest in peace, was at, and I seen that very book, the same deal where I got drugged down the road like a cartoon character there with Frosty when my bro dropped that cat out of the tree. He showed me that book. Oh, this is Uncle Donnie's. It's your Uncle Donnie's. Because everybody, is always Uncle Donnie because they didn't want to fry what was, about to be real, you know, pudding here pretty what was left of our minds, our still developing minds. But they were all so dysfunctional. It was crazy. Anyway, like I said, that was the second place they burnt down. My aunt and uncle Daryl, they burnt down another place, pardon me, in South Park in the rat trap. They burnt. She clobbered him with a frying pan, knocked him smooth out. Kind of like another cartoon episode. And I think that was the one he fell asleep with a cigarette in his mouth. So don't ever, Tori, ever fall asleep with a cigarette in your mouth. He probably never would, but I don't think that they expected that they would either. Then they were drinking also a lot. So he was, like I said, he was the one that strung the hose up over the Rambler. The sound of Arkansas, he said. This is the sound of that rain. Anyway, I'm getting way off track as I do once in a while. Got some homemade soap. My daughter didn't like this, but as long as I know somewhat where they got it, it's all right. And then this one here, I'm going to definitely use this Japanese cherry blossom. Because if it's got any kind of grit in it, it's my home chicken. It's what I like. I like grit all up on my face. I'll be crushing up charcoal. I'll use whatever it takes. Like baking soda for the tooth, whatever. Floss. Gotta floss, people. Gotta floss. I got two different kind right here. Just because sometimes I get in the hankering to get down and real dirty. I did get me some of that Stewart's beef jerky. Gave half to my daughter. She knew I didn't want to. She just knew it. She knew it, and I said, "Now you better make sure you feel you're feeling real appreciative over this one." She does a lot for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have that soap. Let's see what else. What else was there? Oh yeah, so that's the deal about my address because I've got to get. We're rolling. I'm not worried about them fools. Those fools know. They could have dropped a bomb on me, baby, a long time ago. I never did like that song much. They could have done a lot. So many. They can't. They've tried to, get rid of me. Oh, birthday. That's why I sing I am smell. They've been trying to do that for a long time. This last pass in Wally World overrode me on my custody. See, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because we're going to get there. And I want to make sure I got a lot of momentum for once we get. I want to make sure that I'm, that I'm in the right spirits. Because I'm going to be hammering away on this one, this last run. Because, boy, I found out exactly what was going on with this one. And the Lord was there the whole time. The whole time. What's the odds? You go there, they don't put you with your family. Come on, man. They separated us back in 90 when it was a penitentiary. Well, if you're having a problem, he'll have a problem. I said, look, the only problem we're having is, and that's when all that stuff happened with the TB test because of the having to stand Little Tijuana when I was in downtown King County. Oh, which isn't that something? Just segue right in. I don't even try to do this. Of course, you guys already probably figured this stuff out. Oh, it's getting good. The intensity and frequency is increasing. God, I like what I look better when I'm up close. Oh, do you see this? And then I'll get to this in a minute. I know I get sidetracked, but I'm working on it. We're all heading the same place, so don't worry. Look at this. Isn't Isn't that nice? This is that core Codelia 83. 83, and it appears it's definitely a watercolor. Look, here's the moon right here. I took a picture. You probably already seen it on Facebook, but I couldn't let this go. I would have bought this, even though it's not a masterpiece. Just the her mind is. I'm in love with her mind. I'm in love with her mind and her talent because look at look at what she's done here. She's taken this beautiful winter scene. Of course, I've noticed there's no bees on this one, and she's transitioned right on into spring with these birds that are ushering it right in. Like I had to Bud, as I'm looking right down where Bud, I had to usher him out. And then here's this one out where there's two out there. There was only one for a while. Now there's two, and they wake me up before it's even light. An hour before it's light. Usually I'm up about that time anyway. They're letting me know 4:37 is now arrived, and I'm like, listen, man, I am sleeping in, and that's exactly why I haven't been up, people, because I've been sleeping, because I deserve it. I've been sleeping, and the dog is right there because his daddy's gone, and he's got separation anxiety, and so he hogs the damn bed, and I don't have the. That's the first one. Did I change this? The first one on 58. Yes, I did change it. Isn't that nice? Look at that. She did the same thing here. And then look, she even went a little further here, right? Look at how beautiful those blackberries are. Lush. You can tell they're wild because they're not big. They're small and, just like you'd see over here. Oh, those are the that are so delicious. Here, just singing it right on in, and then there's the ripe apples, and then here's the apple blossom. We have apple blossom here in Wenatchee. We have the apple blossom, just like we have the daffodil festival down here. Remember, I used to work at Van Lurp's daffodil farm. No, I didn't hump any of them, honey. I would have if I had any self-worth back then. I would have tried to hump any one of those, and I know it sounds like a dog, any one of those three sisters that I used to go, and they would just invite me on into their big, beautiful house right across the street. And they'd go out, they'd work too. But, I didn't have any. I'd be on, we'd be farming all kinds of stuff. It might, it just wasn't meant to be. But anyway, here this is. Look at that. And there's no bees. You notice that? There's no bees here. So what I'm fitting to do, Foo, is I'm fitting to take the back off these, and I'm gonna, because they're watercolor, and it looks like she did. See, I look at stuff through this. Like, let me show you what I got here. I look at stuff through this. This is how I looked at my plants and everything to make sure I knew is one of these jeweler loops right here. One of these, and this one's got a little light on it. Isn't that cool? You can just, and then I take a look at it because I'm fascinated with how people do stuff. I appreciate other people's art. Didn't know I was an artist myself, but gosh, I've done some pretty amazing things. I've given most of it away. Destroyed way far more than I've ever, because I've had so many troubled years before these. But that's why the Lord is just, he's like, that's right, son. That's why we're. Isn't that neat though? It's beautiful. But I didn't even notice for so many years this. I've had these for years. I had to buy them. I think she was going to sell them. And I said, oh, no, yeah, you'll sell them to me. And I paid way more than she ever paid for them. I couldn't believe how much she paid for them. Of course, I would have bought them. Yes, that's right. That makes me lick my lips. Because I'm a fanatic. I've had some artwork that, man, I know for a fact was worth a lot of money. I just didn't know because I was just too impatient. And I could have never believed or guessed or thunk that little Donnie Steen would have ever been privileged enough to be arrayed with such a fine artwork and stuff. find just talent. And then look at this. Look at this. God, I want to show. Look at this right here. What she did right on the tip. They're just starting to get frostbit. And if you look, it's red, almost like that little that where the red fern grows. Pardon me, I want to take it because I got a lot going on. But oh yeah, don't worry, I'll be sharing you flat Earth. I don't always get on their own. It was nice to see uh, honeybee. It's all right. I'd be going in there, and you guys just roll right up in there. That's you're gonna try to keep us from visiting and stuff. They don't want us to go and meet. That's why I got my address out there. I'm not worried about. No, I'm not because we're all moving from here, and it doesn't matter. Everybody right around here, I got. You see how close that, and then this, and it's not even that. I've got an arsenal of angels that you would not. Well, you'll see. Most of you already know. But this is beautiful. Look, it just looks right like that little red when I got that buck over there. If I hadn't have stopped, if I hadn't have listened, first of all, I'd have been chasing rabbits. Me and old, it would have been back in the days with old Alice in Chains. We'd have been doing some basement serenading. Oh, they would go all over. They'd go to a lot of skate kings too. They would do Battle of the Bands all over them and Metal Church but that's just awesome. It looks like here an airbrush though. So she used an airbrush. Look at that mountain. I didn't even know that mountain was there. I hadn't, and I should. You'd think I would, but I was so enamored with this. So enamored with this. Just I don't know. Just beautiful, beautiful stuff. People are so talented and in prison. Gosh, they're so talented. Once we get to that part too, we'll go back and forth. And like I said, that's what a lot of those prisoners were given. Some of them fools back in the day when some of the best tat work was coming out of the penitentiary. Because you can be an artist, but it's a whole nother ball of ink. It's a whole nother to sling some mud. That's for sure. You're not. We've like I said, we've made it out of everything from soot, from dominoes to all kinds of stuff. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to pull this. But here, back to this. I was just talking about. Now this is King County. You see, it says King County. Now you better focus on. Oh, there you go, King County court clerk, and then you see, of course, there's my address. One, because I said Space Force 1. Forcing that space all in your face. God, I can't wait. Oh yeah, I'm just waiting, sweetheart, man. If it means anything to you, I sure hope you don't let that. I want to show you something. This right here, this I had more than one judge. This is from 1990, right here when I first fell. Isn't that crazy? I was just talking about that too. I didn't even plan that. I don't, I'm too simple to plan that. Do you think I'm gonna be able to remember that? That's why old Mike thought he was heckling me when he said, "Yeah, this stuff just makes you stupid." Well, sometimes. But yeah, I'd have built columns. So, isn't that nice? They did this. They sent me a. Oh well, they always send me a. So here's this. It's a 2-part. Look at all the thought that goes into this. This is just. Look at that. Just. You don't need any. Just put your money in here, right? And that's just. Let's open this. See what's in here. It's like a scratch ticket, right? No, it's not, people. No, it's not. It's amazing too that I got this. And then Casey was talking about. But see, I don't want to get. Oh look, it's even got a little. Oh look, it's even got a little. Oh, it's even got a little thing. You just peel that off right there. That's something. So you can stick it right to your forehead. Use it as a mask. I'm telling you, around here, if you want to do any business inside the bank, you will be wearing one. I always just like right here. And they always say, no, you got to put it, and I'll just do it right here. And I can't. But it's not being defying. It's just I don't like to be. I want to breathe, and that's really what it is. It has nothing to do with. I don't care. I'll compromise. I'll eat some crow if it's got garlic on it, or if I know it's fixing to get garlic. Okay, garlic. We want to grow some serious garlic. So right here, ladies and gentlemen, beloved, and they've been doing this, sending me a lot of beloved actor uh, gives birth in an automobile accident and lives to tell about it, type thing. You know what I mean? Because I don't like. So let's see. This here is, let's see, total due, financial. So let's see. Okay, so this is something different. This is something completely new. Huh. Oh boy, I got cocky, didn't I? I did the Peter, but this is a first right here. Wow. Huh, they're running this crap back, huh? But either way, it's still ridiculous. This is from 2003, but this one here is 2020. What do they must be getting me? Yeah, they're out of their damn minds. Past due date. I'd have to look that up because I don't recognize that number. But my brother, it's been difficult getting out of jail at times because my brother and I have his is Ronald Edwardstein and mine is Roy Donaldstein, and his is 31571 and mine is 320. And these lazy asses, they get paid so much they don't pay attention to. They see a. I actually had my attorney tell me that one time. They don't. They just. She was real. She was a. Turned out to be something. Not like that. So it's just. We'll get. I don't want to get too far ahead because that was the. So this is something else. This isn't the one that they once in a while will send me from 1990 and 92 that a judge had because I had been making payments just the minimal amount. He's like, look, he can't even keep up with the interest. Look at the interest that he's gained all these over these years, and you keep putting him in jail, and so I'm done. We're done with this right here, and that, of course, it wasn't long, and that guy I'm sure got retired or something. He was an older guy, and he started sending them again, and it's. What are they going to do? Tell you, well, we're sorry. I've never, ever, ever, ever heard a judge say they were sorry. Ever once. Ever. Even judges that I knew had a somewhat, or I believed had a decent heart. Uh, I've never heard any of them fools. They might have been whispering it in their little wretched minds because they knew that they were fixing to send someone away for a long time, or attempting to that. So they were going to weasel off the bench. We're going to get to him real soon. You know what's really odd, and they can take this. I don't care. They can kiss my uh, Bible right here that I have. This beautiful, big, succulent Bible. I'll just introduce him to right here. Oh, it matches me shirt. Oh, and these stripes back here. Imagine that. Didn't even plan. I know his landscaper. Believe it or not. Yeah, his whole recovering addict. Isn't that something? Recovering addict, alcoholic, which is a blessing. He's been doing well for many years, has a family, and doing real well. Does the ding dong's lawn. Thinks that's what he uses to shout from his basement. His glorious duty to society. He tells everybody, how He hires. Hold on. So my daughter was walking by hollering at the children. So yeah, he uses that just like the baby court. The baby court. Oh my gosh. The baby. I would never let that man touch any of my children, and I would glad he's in. That's why he pulled that. He pulled that stunt. Oh, bingo was its name. Oh, and that thing was closed. I should show you that. It just stuck in there like I rifled right on in. Okay, I'm going to shut the television just real quick. So hold on, I'm going to shut this down because mouth is starting to get a little bit vocal. They know I'm running. Your mouth, young lady. I don't like hearing my daughter cuss, especially that word. I don't care. Judge me if you want. She's mine. I gave birth to her. In that sense, when we get pregnant, we're all getting pregnant. When I don't run out on my. Although in some senses I did because I got taken away by my dumbass actions. Right? Oh, that's the second one. So in that sense, I did. Couldn't believe I could not move. Old Peter was just steadfast. He was ordering our food, and I said, "Oh, I'm having McDonald's today." Oh no, you're not today. You're not, Steen. Oh yes, I was. Of course, I gave my life to the good Lord that day. Also, it was short lived. I said I could not. The chair would not swivel. It swiveled when I got in it. It wouldn't swivel trying to get out. I couldn't even get up. I felt like I had been Miss Ratchet was underneath me, and she had just click, click, click. She just ratcheted me down. I got all my stuff. Because I've been going through my stuff, so I just thought association and identifying. Anyway, let's see. What else was I going to? So there's that. I was going to blow you away with if that was the one that I thought it was. That's a new one, completely new. I've never seen that one. It has to be my brother. Haven't been involved in these. Well, no, it wouldn't surprise me. I don't even recognize that number. And when you've been involved with these fools as long as I have, what I have been involved with them, and this lately, I know very well by heart the case numbers pretty much very well because I've had to do a lot of paperwork that I am not accustomed to do. And just like the court clerks, did you do this? I said, yeah, it took me 3 times with my buddy Tim, who's out. Old Tim, the one with the black toes. He did his own also, and they were. Well, I don't want to get too far ahead. Anyway, so let's see. Yeah, and it was 6:03 was sundown, but I had to run it. I wanted to run it. I'm gonna get some coffee here pretty soon. I'm almost done with this. I'm gonna run some coffee. So I'll pause this in case you want to go. Any one, but there's always more than one people. Remember that I can tell by what's being said. And then one day I got a flurry of stuff of numbers. I just don't pay attention. I pay attention over here to the session number. I don't look except. I mean, I can see it, but I also know by what was being said before how many people are actually, and then I just know because I had a little bird fly down and tell me. So I'm gonna go get some coffee here pretty soon. Little baby's crying. My little baby, she's so cute. I can't believe how cute she is. Of course, the family already threw in the towel when little Michael didn't look nothing like Mikey, and I don't believe that little Lily is either. Oh, and little Spark. You like Sparky? There, Mr. L. I have to be careful because I'll just start. And I'd seen bits and pieces of yours today. Bits and pieces. That's how I. And then towards the end, I'll go ahead and I'll share them. But I'll get bits and pieces, and something led me to watch all of Casey's. But it was already after I'd already woke up, very relaxed. You have to push him around. He's a brute. He's Jax is a brute, but definitely keeps me warm with that thin window in there. And I have to get up at night, and sometimes they forget to shut that heat off. And there's no sense in running the heat at night when you're underneath covers. I don't care how cold it is. Get something put. Figure that out. That's why the bill's so high. And the thing is, it's not even in my. That won't even be in my concern. But that's not it. If on my watch, that's just how I am. I've always been that way. If I can shut them off, I'll shut them off. Dad, you shut the light off on me. Oh, it's just a habit. I'm sorry. And I've been doing that for years. They're in the bathroom. I go in, do something, and then I shut off. Dad, I'm in the tub. Sorry. It's just habit. But it's a good habit. That's why I have no trail running through me little house here. And wood. I'm going to talk about wood, old Alice. Wood. Mm-hmm. Move that over here in case I need to. So, let's see. Where were we? We were still on God's way. Ruth has passed away. Seen Ron again. Did some work on his property. Matter of fact, I fell some trees for him. He's had those same birds. That one big white one. He still had that bird. And he had a trail. Speak about trail. Man, see, you can't. He had trails. He was. That's why his property went to crap. Yeah, I don't. Of course, you got cats coming over and mess. Look at you got all kinds of places for him to. Not just cats. They're just they're rats and everything else you got around. So, but let's see. There was something else I wanted to brush up on because it's only 42. See, that's what I pay attention to. If anything, it's 42 minutes. I want to something else. There's a lot of different things that happened in the last few days. But yeah, that little speech and all that stuff, that's all. I don't even think that was real. It was, notice is see when I pray I get different. It's when I get visions, I see things differently in that sense. And now I see things with my actual eyes also, but I can see through some stuff. Through the lies and stuff like that. And apparently it's through objects, I guess. Oh boy. Don't be outsmarted by the fox. Open up the door to the one that stands there and knocks. And then this is how far we've gotten on that. Just within the last just a little sip will do ya. And they put a lot usually I like how sweet this is. This is they didn't skimp on the honey on this stuff. Which is good because that's the most expensive part of this whole deal is that honey, especially the organic, unfiltered. Oh man, that's some good. And you can drink a little more without it burning your gut too much. So let's see. If I can't remember what it is, I'm not going to stew and burn up time. So we're at 4444 there. And I was led to play that song, that do, because he said, "Oh, you're on fire." All honor, glory, and praise. We're Friday night. I was led to go on there and So we're supposed to meet up people, and this is how we do it. It's trying to keep us. And I don't forget. Don't. I haven't forgotten, Deborah. And as I just thought about you when you're over on Casey's last Sabbath. It's nice. People just they. It's trying to keep us from meeting. It's trying to keep us. See, the more that they want to divide people with just different beliefs and stuff like that. Once you're in the spirit and you're reading and stuff and you're seeing, you'll know, you know what you need to work on, because you'll start wanting to, just like they said, you'll want to ask. That's what I do. I beg. I beg pretty much. I don't beg, but I might as well, in a very humble, extolling kind of way. I thank God every single day, right off the get go, and ask Him to examine me thoroughly so that I'm not caught lacking anything or causing anybody to trip up, because I've just been no, and been given too much now, and just know the responsibility that's given with that kind of honor, really, which all goes to Him. And so just we decrease and He increases. Been last all my life, and this time now I'm getting a little taste of that first, because it says those are last. It was last all the time. Like I said, if I couldn't eat it, they certainly weren't. All the time, all the time. And the thing is it helped me. It helped me a lot because I gained a lot of good relationships. It was just these are just there's good and not so. There's people that are positive and not so positive in your life, and you can use every opportunity as an exercise to and I didn't realize it at the time, but looking back now, all the and that's exactly why they'd want to trip us up, keep us from meeting, because it's that faith come by hearing, because it sets people out on their own journey. Collectively, though, we're all and we rely on each other. The spirit that is becoming us, we rely on that, and so we build each other up. And sometimes, like I said, people will fall off, but this is. Oh, he flipped smooth out. I caught him right when I heard that open up. But yeah, it's that unifying. It doesn't want us to especially now, because it expected it to force God's hand, because knew there was not much to be, and then pull that triple cross on its own little little minions. They've been eating the wrong. Man, they got befuddled, all right. They've been eating the wrong. Oh yeah, they ain't getting nothing, nada, nothing, and it's happening in a way that I would never imagine. And that's the beauty of the whole thing. Takes that which isn't, makes it as if it were, as if it are. And which brings me up to some other stuff that Millie was bringing up also. And I can't. Was it? It was. Oh yeah, the Walmart. When I said in through the outdoor and out through the, that's that. Yeah. Oh yeah. It helps with people like my brother. He gets real creative. Ooh, I felt somebody just slap my heart up real good. I felt that earlier too, right around 2:30, 2:15, 2:30 my time here. Just saying. Uh, but oh man, I hope I didn't get out. Let's see, what was I saying about Millie saying? Oh yeah, thank you, Father. Um, the Walmart. Oh, he does. I won't go into detail, but yes, it would appear to be, and that's a good explanation for the real shallow, real just kind of um, it just kind of steers people in that direction, that and it's subtle how they're slowly building up, and that's a good thing. But if people want to still, they're gonna go over and they're gonna go under that gate. You see, just like my grandson right there didn't even plan for that. He'll you don't think he won't come over there? He will. He knows that look and tone. So yes, it appears for that, and it might work for that, and that's the intent. Uh, uh, for now, for people that are under that impression, that's the intent that they're taken away. But and then she went on to say, Millie went on to say something about, well, I and I hope I didn't offend you, but that's because I knew right away, right when I seen that, right when I seen those gates, I was like, oh yeah, that's there's it's not. I knew it was also for that, but that's the impression that people are going to take away. And when people want to steal, they'll do like, well, I'll just tell you, they'll just leave motorcycles just sitting right by fire escape doors and load big duffel bags up. Duffel bags that are in the store, just go right in, have everything already shopped in carts, waiting, people waiting, and they'll get everything on. Most everything's already ordered, and then the other bag is usually for the person, and load it up and right out that. So those don't mean nothing. They mean absolutely nothing to people that really want stuff, and they'll go right through them anyway. If they want something, they're going to take it. So you made a really good point that uh, something, and I didn't, because I was, and I apologize, but I got a lot of stuff. This truck is, and oh, it's a great deal, but I've just been having to do a lot of stuff and still, do what I can to keep Sabbath, so I can honor my heavenly creator, which has given us all these gifts and talents and time and unions and relationships. But you're right. It's subtle. That's what they do. They do it. It's a little by little, just like taking the second from us, the amendment. It's little by little. First is the first and second, and they go back and forth, just a little here, and they see what. Oh, and then they got to stop because people go, wait a minute, and they got to back off. Oh, they watch the responses to our responses. They also watch, and now they don't have now that their plan is they're they expected, just like Mr. Phil said and I got just a piece of it. That's why I shared it. I was like, man, I'm gonna share this before 6:03. I'm gonna go ahead and run it. The Lord said, run it. If you want, go ahead. It's all right. It's because I pray, God, please, and if just, and I'll hear, son, don't just wait. You're all right. It's it's 6:03 right now. Woo! I know you don't like this, Lionel, but yeehaw! My grandson, true story, but I'm not gonna lie, was listening to "Body Like a Back Road." Hadley actually picked it. Her mommy, I think, listens to that. But right before I was gonna come on here, but anyway, there it was, 6:03, and there it is. Whoop ding, baby, and it's sundown here officially. So, um, yeah, it's subtle. It's all subtle. That's what it is. It's all subtle. Next thing you know, they're gonna have you. So once you go, it ain't gonna be no big deal. Once they got it all caged up, it's gonna be just like every day there, and then click. It ain't gonna be so pretty. At least that's the plan there. But no big long, because now it's trembling. It's like, oh my gosh, this is a quadruple reversal osmosis cross. I'm using this, and I don't even watch football because it's the only insulated cup I got for that little bit of ginger. That extra bold is what it is. I don't, like I said, I try to stay away from that cancer feeding. corn syrup, but once in a while they had a couple in there. I had to put these, get it just nice and icy. I apologize. Anyway, so I'm gonna go get some more coffee, and ooh, my palm is itching big time. Man, I hope the check's in the mail. I'm supposed to be getting some. They just sent me another card too. I just had to activate. Wow, what's going on? I don't really believe in superstition. Not at all. Really, really, Millie. I don't. That song is so good. That song is well. They're all really. Oh, and speaking of song, let me finish first. Is Fleetwood Mac? Even though I didn't know she had written so many of them. Wow, she's just. But it doesn't surprise me at all. She had. I heard an interview with her quite a while ago. That just was. I know it was heaven sent, and because I was walking the yard, and was listening to Crystal, which wasn't one of the ones that was a hit, so they didn't play it much back then. So I'd never really heard it. But when I was in Larch, I completely the Lord just gave me it was amazing. I was like, wow. And then, like I said, I was able to get Portland, all the stations in Portland with that little looked like a little, also had a radio deal in my headphones, like, most Walkmans was the antenna. And I heard an interview one morning when I was walking, because I was one of the first ones out there also, just like him. Well, I was the first ones out in the morning, and I was, if I could be, I was the last one in to come in at night, whatever, if I wasn't out humping a mountain and impregnating a mountain with with slamming in some Pinots. I heard this interview with Stevie Nicks, and you could tell by her voice that it was pretty recent. It might have been even live, uh, where she had contacted Prince and about a song, and I forgot which one it was, but she said he was very humble, and when she first met him, he just said hello. He was kind of quiet, and then she stated her business, and he went right over to the keyboard and she said within just a matter of minutes, he had what she came looking for, the advice about how she would do this certain song. And so it was just pretty cool. I was just I needed that, because it shows humility from someone that's already a beautiful, very talented artist, but to recognize, and then they're both, they didn't get near the notoriety yet that they should and will. At least I'm still counting on her. Prince, I'm pretty much banked on, even though they tried to wrap him up just like little Mike can look one way, but if you see what he does, he's also saying to people, just like, yeah, there's certain little artists that hint certain things so that they don't get caught up in this controversial backlash and backdraft. Someone in the live chat, I hate that word, backdraft. Like, I didn't really even care too much for that. Wasn't that Swayze? I didn't even like but it's good information to know that type of stuff. If your house is on fire, by the way, they set two of them and was working on a third. So anyway, I'm gonna go get some coffee here pretty soon. And let me look at this real quick. I wanted to mention before I got that song by Yes. I listened to some of the lyrics. I was every for everyone. I think. Let me look. I think it was. I'd never heard that song before. I don't listen to Sweet dreams. Sweet dreams. Oh, sweet dreams. Oh, what a beautiful thing. I just got that one. Well, sweet dreams to you, sweetheart. That's great. I believe that was from you. And so the last one, I think it was for everyone. I'm not going to go back because now I just got caught up with that one. I don't need to now because that was just a nice little. That was a beautiful thing. I don't listen to much. Yes, that love will find a way was always one of my favorites back when I was in. Honestly, when I was in Ruth Dykman and Bonnie and stuff. That's why I never. That's why I never had any relations with those two young girls because they were real cute. They're in Anderson. I didn't even know I'd been there because I was in love with her. I was never that way. Like I said, only when I was in a drug induced psychosis did I get real pornicious like that. I wasn't. I don't sit and I don't watch that. I don't watch it. He knew today his daddy was here watching the baby and stuff. Cecilia and her mom went out. That's where I got them. I just got back and I don't and this song with a wet old coochie, this and that, and he's like, turn that off, and his daughter Hadley's like, and he says, don't look at me, dumb. You need to do that now because I just like I said, I won't even let I would never let my children watch. They could do whatever they could do. But I'll tell you, they could throw it whatever kind of water on me. I'm not going to be. They won't see me. Uh, you know. I won't be. Oh, what's going on out there? Let me look real quick. Like a witch, I won't be. It's melting. I'll stand right there. They ain't gonna be throwing none of their. And I've seen. And again, I gotta just be real cautious. And you know, there's things I'll share. With it's just I've never seen children that can be so unruly and disrespectful. And I'm talking just that love it prevails, and you can. But there's a time when you just gotta go, and it's difficult when you see their biological. Those. It's like it's like these. It almost hurts because, and then and what really gets me is if you get scolded or reprimanded for saying something like, are you serious? Wait a minute, wait a second. And because so I can't go there. I've had stuff, and again I just got to be cautious, not because I'm not concerned with anything that has any and everything to do with the truth. uh However, it's just, yeah, it's a matter of perspective. And I've had people say that, but here's the thing. uh I guess it'd be the same if I guess it would mean more if I was doing the same stuff, but and that's what and he says in his word that he comes for, and I told you last time, I believe I mentioned it, he comes to bring division. I thought I always puzzled me on that scripture verse. I was like, what does that mean? Division? Love doesn't divide. Oh, yes, it does. Oh, it sure does. It divides like a hot knife through that butter, that Irish butter. There's still all them cubes in there. I might the way they don't they use other types of stuff. But yeah, so you got to be cautious. You can't tell people how to raise their children, especially when it's not your home. Now, if it my home, especially if it's not your house, but in my home, doesn't matter how many of those that I have. I'm sure I had this vision, like I said, but that was back then. Things change. As tiny as they might be, or as small and as modest as they might become, I would never ever allow that stuff to go on underneath the roof of one of my homes, ever. talk to me that none of talk to any grown up that way ever, ever. No grow. It doesn't matter if it's the neighbor. If you're on that piece of you better. So all right, well, it's 1:05. I'm $1.05. I'm gonna go ahead and get some hot coffee because one of those soda pops are, like I said, I had an issue with that Pepsi. Ooh, man, that's where a lot of just ooh, man, talk about health problems, obesity, and that cancer, it thrives and feeds off corn syrup, corn fructose, sucrose, all that happy corrosive crap. And once I stopped drinking that, he told me I was still sitting. He's like, "No, no, no. You just not just the charcoal. You need to stop what you're doing. That's not gonna. It's almost like Mother Earth. She'll reverse the slapping up she's been getting, but she's gotta have a break, just like us. You can't keep hammering away, and otherwise we're amazing creatures. And isn't that something that we're created right from her? Just breath of life. So I'm gonna go get some coffee. I shall return. I hear my little baby Lily. She looks this little round face. She's so precious. I can't believe it. Oh, she's so adorable. But yeah, so it's best just not to split the. They already know, and like I said, it's the division is already. There's that love that it'll happen on its own if you just the second that you start following the truth you're becoming. It's you start making your own. You'll hear it, you'll see it, you'll go, wait a minute, and you'll literally just walk. Like I said, I'm gonna take a video of that down there at my brother's house. And even Sammy said, I would have never, they all Forrest, I would have never, if you would have asked me just months before, we put all that money, thousands and thousands, $30,000 into all that. And that's where he planted that shop, adding all that on the shop and the apartment up top. And it just so happens that's the people's, what they wanted, what they really needed. And they don't care about the trees that, so just everything. And I'm going to take like I said, a video just because I want to. I couldn't. Well, it's not just a few trees. We're talking about they wiped out the mountainside, and then on the other side of the road, and then up the road. And they're from Florida. They just come in and they didn't just thin it out, like you would do. They just clear cut the whole thing. So yeah, I know you clear cut, but this is just not in a residential area. Matter of fact, it's dangerous if you leave just a. His neighbor had to actually take down some trees when they first started coming because they would have been a hazard because there was no windbreak. Yeah, that's what holds the earth in place. That's what keeps everything in. Not to mention all the wildlife and the fresh air and, jeez. Yeah, but when I'd go down and visit my dad down there, he just lived down the road, and that not very, like I said, not even a mile. Force is the one that found him. His phone. He said I was the one that last one that spoke to him, and he was pissed. He was like, he knew he was passing away. I've already had people that well, what do you think about? And I'm like, listen, man, and they didn't say it like right out. Do you think it was something that was, or just carelessness on? And I'm like, no, nope. And they've never insinuated that to me that way, just in a round. You know how people can. I don't want to say weave. But they can. I don't know. They can just kind of tiptoe and kind of serenade and dance around planting a seed of doubt in your head, especially when you're in a situation where you really don't need that to be taking place. In some places that could be real real dangerous. Kind of like old Jeff Tolliver when he said, "Yo, mama," he didn't expect that to happen. Anyway, I'm gonna uh pause for just, I won't be very long. I'll not very long, probably maybe 3 to no more than 7 minutes. I don't want to keep you waiting, and because we have more than just in that one. Looking at this right here, man, I hope that's my wife, huh? Please, just before the 20th, God, please. I'm done playing. I don't want to play. You're worth it. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. You're worth it, and I just want to have a personal conversation with you. I'm done. I just don't want. I just want to have a personal conversation with you. I want to be, I want to be able to talk to you. Fucking, it's driving me crazy. So anyway, okay, I'm gonna go. I'll be back. I can't stop smiling now. My eyes are on fire. You see, this is what you do to me right here. But I'm not gonna let it go. I'm not. I'm not letting that go. I'm gonna stick to my guns. I'm gonna. I have to. I have to. I feel you right now. You're so awesome. Oh, it's been so nice knowing you. Really has. Not that it's not gonna. I'm just. It's been nice up until this whole. I've been just so. That's right. You better focus in, sucker. Not you, baby. I'm talking about you. Chew. Pay attention. I can feel that right now. I'm just completely on fire. You guys got me all slapped up with the Holy Spirit, just slapped up one side and down the other. See, that's how this works. When you guys start, and I feel it, we all feel each other's. We're all one. That's the thing. We're all one, and that's on you, Tori. Yeah, I understand. I know you keep, and that's why I said you'll do that when you're ready. I already knew. I already kind of already knew a long time ago. I know what the word says, and you just, that's between you and the good Lord. But if it's anything at all is ever does not sit right, when you if you're truly in the Holy Spirit, you'll know something doesn't sit right, and you'll just make some adjustments, because it's adjustments that need to be made apparently. If it's something that's hearkening, if it's really, you can feel it. It kind of it presses in on you, and you'll feel it. It's in, like, you'll know it's in your chest, because it's written, just like Miss Hall. It's in your heart. It really is. That's what that one says. It's not a fleshly thing, although it is. It's a fleshly battle, because our carnal flesh is just, it's the law of the flesh, but different than, I was going over John. I was going over John today, and about and I should just real quick before I do want to get some coffee, but I want to, before I forget, just going over John, real quick. I noticed some stuff. I noticed stuff. Been noticing a lot of stuff. John, in the beginning was the word. Oh, I'm getting some new headphones pretty soon. Then I'm going to tell you about me truck. Don't mess with my truck. Yeah, he listens to that too. You can smoke my blunt. You can. But don't touch my truck. I'm like, are you serious? Where is it? John. And see, because now I'm. Because that's. Oh, I'd already passed it. Okay, let's see. For the flesh. Let's see, what did I keep? Let's see, spirit. Okay, right here. The spirit is the one that that testifies the Spirit is truth. That's because he created us in his image, and the truth shall make you free, right? And so that's the truth is going to testify. So there are three that testify: the Spirit, blood, and the three are on one accord. If we accept human testimony, the testimony of God is surely greater. But where did I find that? That wasn't it was down here. It was it, was it fuzzy, was it? Was it? Because John is not a big book. There was a there was something I wanted to point out that I noticed that corresponded with Revelations also about here's what sustains the holy ones. Of course, this here says that we keep the commandments. Oh, it was the covenant. It was the covenant. It was the covenant. The ark that was written with with our heavenly Father's own finger, not by Moses, not the old. And it said that where was I reading? Oh, baby, she's crying. Honey, what are you doing to her? Let's see. Anyway, I'll find it when I'm led to and then it'll come right back because I wasn't supposed to. But I started thinking about what you were saying, Mr. and Mrs. Hall. God, I love you guys so much. You guys are awesome. You guys are just like, you complete each other. It's all, you're all just part of that completing dynamic force, that dynamic hedge. You're talking about that hedge. Well, that's that family unit, that life force that becomes even more. That's why I said, if you're out there, if your people are out there, if you're led to meet somebody but marry yourselves up, that's what this is all about. It's not about division. It's not about division. It's about unity and also patience, and not just like someone said, you don't want to just run out. But again, I'm not one of them ones to run out, and I know you guys won't either, because you'll pray and the Lord will send you somebody. We're in that time now to where that extra, what might seem extra, and actually it's just that it's just that it's like that counterbalance, it's that counterpart. It's what's going to complete you when you're making decisions that might seem a little troubling in a day and age such as this, where it seems like, you there with everything that's going on. It's like people that you normally would uh, be able to sharpen yourself off of, that's not happening. They're working so hard. It is so hard at separating people, so there's no unity, so there's no love making. That's what it is. And it's not just a sex. We're talking about this right here, conversation, commune, when we're communing, and that's how people see our heavenly Father. That's how because he ain't coming down here right now, we'd all be. So his Holy Spirit is what we, and we don't want to be lukewarm, because that's what's going to get you spit. But we are. That's what Millie said. Is she standing right next to us? I had him come right up to me when I was in Reading. But anyway, I don't want to get. And I know now the angels, so many angels. I've seen so many. So that's how he's returning, right through us, people. Oh yeah, we're gonna see this and that, and that's all fine and dandy. That's not what I'm talking. He's returning through us. You can like that, believe it, understand it, accept it. That's not my deal. I'm just telling you that's how this is happening. So it doesn't have to for you, certainly, but it's going to happen. That's for sure. And it would just behoove everybody to stay ready. So yeah, marry yourselves up. It's not about running out shacking up with an unhealthy attachment, because that's what it's trying to do, is promote unhealthy attachments through this stuff like this. It doesn't want anybody to unify and go meet each other. It wants you to be too scared to give somebody a hug so smile at them with your eyes. If you got to wear your mask and you got to be in somewhere, smile at them with your eyes and let them know, say whatever you're led to. God bless. Hey, can I pray for you? I've had people that I would have never thought. I watched these two youngsters ask if they could pray for me and some other guy that was in the tire shop there in Walmart. Late. I didn't think they would be out this late, but they were. These two, you could tell they were a couple, young, real young, maybe 19 or 20, and just I'm certain now we're angels in the flesh, and that's how he moves through us. And they asked if there was anything that they could pray for me for, and I said, sure, you could pray for me, but there's nothing. And I started talking to them about, and this guy right behind me, I said, but that guy, and of course they were going to already, they were praying for whoever they could. There wasn't that many people in the store, and it was just him. And matter of fact, I think I was waiting for a key to get made. And these young, bold, Christ-like lion and lioness, this little couple, they were bold. They was that it was that mighty little uh, uh, monstrosity of a prayer, like Jabez, and this fella, I would have never thought, this older gentleman, if I was assuming, I would have never have assumed that this fella would have let them. Yeah, I know 120. I got to get this coffee so I can get into the. Would have let them youngsters pray for him. With all due respect, these were very wise young individuals. And he said, yeah, I do. I have some. And he started telling them this, which isn't important what it is, but a little list of things. And I just went, wow. And they just smiled, and I smiled, and I just walked away. As they were praying, I walked away and I said a prayer myself, and I could feel just like what I'm feeling right now. When we unify together in prayer, then the Lord's able to. That's how he gets to us. And then he gets all his report through the angels that weren't fallen, that didn't get deceived, which like you said, we're going to be judging those, and the ones that were deceived by them, he'll be handing down the sentence to them. And it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be Groundhog Day for all them fools. It's not going to be good, and the mocking's already starting. You see, it's completely different than just like the washing of the feet. I like to use this illustration because it's the only one that I'm offered right now. And it would have seemed backwards. Why would of our Heavenly Father gave me the revelation of washing of the feet, which actually also means that we have to be cleansed. It's a daily thing. It isn't no water thing. He said, you have to let me wash you, the filth off you. He said, I can't let you do that. It wasn't just the water. Or he would have said, you got to let me baptize you. He never baptized anybody. He said, there's one that's coming after me. He's going to baptize you with the Holy Spirit. He says, I'm leaving. I'm going to leave you one, right? Where two or more gather. And so he said, if I don't let you sow, I thought, well, that means service work. You think that was just completely, well, service work would come after the fact that you'd want to be cleansed. You'd think that our heavenly creator would, but there were things that needed to go on in that jail, and that could cause a lot of issues. You don't just start throwing soups on people's bed. You don't do that. But a soup is a nice thing to have late at night. Nice hot soup where they're locking you down, and you don't know where it came from, and it's sealed, so it's not, and there ain't no one in there bad enough as far as you're concerned to get the tail end and no putty, because you can't pay that 3-for-1 soup back that got left on your bed, and you didn't go out and say, hey, whoever left this here, man, it's on the table, you can have it, no thanks, because that's the kind of, they know. But when you don't let your left hand know what your right hand's doing, so that my illustrate, my I use that illustration because that's the only one I'm offered, and that's the same as the. It was complete. It's like everything got like almost like turned around, and our he's just such a sense of humor. Created us in his image, so that's why we laugh. People just don't unless you cackle or like a hyena. You can tell that when somebody really laughs, you'll see they'll smile, they'll laugh with their eyes. You'll know. You guys haven't seen me really laugh. If I laugh, I will fall on the ground. I'll be laughing so when I really laugh at something really and Mr. L has had me cracking up like that a few times where I just had to literally I was just so I was just completely. Oh yeah, him and old and just him and a bunch of people. But I just think Robin because poor Robin boy, but him and Robin and I always thought that something about him and Robin. I never knew. I had no idea, but I did. You know what I mean? But I had no illustration first hand demonstration of this man's filthy talent in such a feet washing kind of way. I didn't even mean to do that, and I'm not trying to brag. It's just amazing. My head is just completely just buzzing off my shoulders right now. So whatever's going on, see, this is why we do not want to forsake the assembling of the saints, and that's what it's trying to do. Unify, marry yourselves up, people. It's not good for man to be alone. A man made woman, and we're transceivers, people, in more than one sense. So I'm gonna go because I've got to give me some cafe. Give me some coffee, and then we're fitting to run some God's way. I think because I still got some more. They're out there riding that out there. That's what it was. Caught me out of the corner. I knew it was dark out there. I shouldn't be seeing stuff because we'll have to get old Eleanor. That's not good. My neighbors up here, they've all got. That's the beautiful thing. See, we're not. You just And for those, I'm not trying to, I didn't give my address and stuff because I've done that a lot. I'll do it here. I'll just keep, it's not pretty soon. My address is going to be your address. We're going to be rolling around, laying hands, casting out, healing with song and prayer and praise and with authoritative, boldness. Going to move some mountains, people. Oh, moving mountains. Oh, so many good things. And see, that's the thing. Oh, you're right on it, Casey. Right on it. That's what they're trying to keep us from. And poor I seen somebody in there. Like I didn't watch the whole thing, just bits and pieces. Bits and pieces. I used to sell a candy bits and pieces because it was all medicated, made with love, organic material and ingredients. But you were right though. You want to keep that. And that Koresh got a bad deal. Could have got him. Somebody said when he was going into town like he did almost every day. They didn't have to do all that. Traumatize the town, murder all them people, children. It's just get rid of all them fools. Well, God, some of them people. If you looked at them, they've got families. They got this and that. When the second they realize what they're doing, the second it's over, and they continue to do. If you go on sinning willfully, talking about old Free Willy, damn devil, marry yourselves up, people. And if you swapping what you should, well, then they just because he said he coming back like that. The way he's coming through us, but it's unannounced. It's a metaphor. There's nothing to do with. It's going to be a twinkling. It's going to happen instantaneously. Although it's a process for us, but once he sees it, and there's not. But so far, thank you, Miss L. What a beautiful thing. And Barbara, I haven't forgotten about you in that interview. I always pray that survivor, of sex trafficking. Oh, I know a little bit about that. Tragic thing. These children, you can feel their, but it's becoming less and less. So thank you. It's becoming, and so we're getting mercy, not getting what we do deserve, but that grace, that extended grace is getting what we don't deserve, because none of us deserve Valhalla. None of us deserve to be here on the new heaven or new earth. None of us, really, because we're sinners. You just don't want to be laying up, sitting there thinking about that. We're not talking about the occasional sin. And that's why Yeshua suffered as a lamb, coming back as a lion, because that little bit, because we're being brought to perfection. There's going to be so little for those when he comes back like that through us, like a thief in the night. The, we're gonna get covered, because there's going to be very few. Because we're not sitting up thinking like these fools are doing. A lot of them they're waking up, coming out of her. They think about ways, and even if they think their lives are on the right track, but yet they're supporting a demonic force. And I know a lot of good people. I grew up in the Catholic faith and religion, and I found out it was no faith at all. It was faith, but it wasn't anything that you would want to build anything of substance, or any you would want to hedge any you would want to place anything behind that hedge. I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't want to rest underneath any structure of the Catholic papacy hierarchy. Absolutely not. I've seen, but when I was a kid and growing up and stuff, well, who was I? And just like you see you see stuff taking place in some of these so-called these Protestant, and they're sun worship. They're and that people say, well, what difference does it make? Well, none, if you're led not to keep Sabbath. None. But then I can ask you the same question. What difference does why would you keep Sunday then? Why would you keep the day that Mary went to the tomb? And he asked the first one of the three, the first one to go and tell people. Huh? Why? And so anyway, there it's just why. That's what I don't understand. And it's the same in Genesis as it is in Revelation. Matter of fact, Revelations, again, twice, there's two parts to that. Here's what sustains the holy ones. I know I haven't got my coffee, but this is more important right now. So always I notice that Alpha and Omega. It's spoken about in both. See, they're actually the same. It's all one book. Although many have been removed, I'm certain. We know Enoch definitely has been removed. We know there's two, but it's so blatantly. And I like that Sirach and Birach and Kirach. I like all that stuff, even the Kirach people. I like all that. It's just good reading. It's got some real good meat on the bones. When you read something, it's not just has this, it doesn't just have a fringe of gold tinge, this something to catch your eye. Used to remember when you looking at something and there's something sparkly, it catches your eye, you put it down, you end up getting, before you know it, you've tweaked a whole hours and hours and you've done nothing. Just complete madness. But yeah, a lot of good people in that religion. A lot of good people. I've and so many good services. But yeah, you have to ask, well, why then, if it doesn't matter, why then would you be so dogmatic? And the other thing, the big kicker would be, why would all these other people why would they follow suit and then give you, and then when you find, and then I never even thought to check, because to me, I just thought it was just it was just religion. It was a doctrinal um, um, interpretation. It had nothing to do with, and that was, and free will, and it just. But then I started reading for myself and asking the Lord to reveal certain things, and then I started putting what I was reading to practice and exercising some self control and being around a lot of different things. Almost just throwing yourself in one temptation trigger, uh, trip, slip, and that's what this is also designed for, people, is to keep us completely just confused. So that alcohol is a big one, people. That alcohol, man. Oh, I know all about it. Oh, it feels good for a second. It keeps those false spirits in us. There's nothing there. I'm pretty certain that's probably why they started with that wine, because I know if it's very clear what the wine is for me. And for some, like I said, when they're mourning or going through it, it's a. I said Jerry would do that. He used to teach that and let people not stay up there and get drunk, and he said, "Oh yeah, it's in there." I was like, well, that's certainly convenient for someone that wants to run off. And he's like, no, no, Roy, that's not what we're talking about. But anyway, so I'm going to go get some coffee. And yeah, the great wine press. Talk about Welch's. Some of them they'd have Welch's, because that's, you can't get the kids drunk when they're taking communion, which we take when, at least me and some folks I know, we take every time we eat. I take communion. Yes, I pray over my food. Oh, and I remember someone said that in the chat, in the live chat. It's good to pray over your food. I just happened to look up. The Lord said, "Look up," just like look at the 603. Look up, and I looked, because it's easier to see the big screen. And someone said it's good to pray over your food. Yes, it absolutely is, because our Heavenly Father provides all the food. We have dominion over everything, and that's why it's so important it's just to be in Thanksgiving all the time. Thanksgiving. And that's what that food is. When I eat it, oh, I'm singing. Oh, I'm singing my anyway, I try not to do it so much if I was in restaurants, because we don't go out to restaurants, and the restaurant food is garbage anymore. It's never what you expect, and it's all changed. It's just trash anymore. So anyway, okay, well, I'll be right back. I love you guys. And yeah, you looked absolutely. Gosh, you're just so beautiful. You get more beautiful every time I see you. You're just, especially when you're yourself. Again, we could play quarters. Do you remember quarters? Have you ever went to parties where you'd bounce quarters? But at least I don't know, you're such a beautiful young lady. You're always going to be young. We're all going to be young. It's not a disrespect thing. Like I said, she'd say, "Don't call me young lady," and I said, "Okay, I'll call you old lady." And I knew I wouldn't say that just to anybody, but she liked me, and so she just looked. She thought about it. She thought about it for a minute. I said, "Because you don't," and before what made her think about it is because I cleaned up real quick, because she was going to follow up with a 1-2 punch and maybe an uppercut. And where I was at, I wouldn't have recovered very nicely. I would probably lost a little good time, just for, yeah. And so I said, "Because you certainly don't look like an old lady to me." She went, "All right, that's a pretty good save there." And and she wouldn't let anybody else in that classroom talk to her that way. I'm telling you right now, she had a panic button. She was not afraid to use it. So anyway, okay, I love you. I'll be right back. And God, yeah, you just amazing, just amazing. But you already knew that, so I'm gonna shut this down so you don't hear me out here. Just what do you guys? No, I'll be right back. All right, I knew that that baby girl would stop crying when I went out there and go to sleep. So I couldn't hold her real quick. You better not wake her up. Just got her to sleep. So, right on. Anyway, let's see. What was I going to say? Something about. Man, that hairdressing is a little too on the greasy side for me. Again, I tried this other stuff. I'm not going to use it. I do need a little bit of a little trim though. So anyway, let's see. God's way. Get to God's way here, and then I'll go back to this. I wanted to mention something else from on the cutting edge earlier, and it slipped my mind. So yeah, we only had 3 head of cattle. I got 3 more once we got to Craig Lane, but Tawana left disgruntledly. She left. I was still, the plants were still not quite. I brought someone else in there to help kind of maintain stuff because I had a lot of plants, and like I said, I was growing for James, Florentine's son, and Brandon, and of course, and I called her a home record, Kayla, because she knew that they were her and Angel. It would have been, whatever. I don't get into other people's business and try not to judge, but I happen to know them all. Pardon me. So they were kind of friends in a way, and it just was just I liked Angel was cool, so I felt bad for her, and then their son and stuff. So it just made it kind of that much because I know how it is to be around challenged children. It's a challenge. So yeah, she ran off. They ended up amending those to 4 felonies because when I got home and was putting my cows in, I had a small fit out in the middle of the field, and scared him again. So that it was kind of my fault in a way, but like I said, there was a lot of weird stuff that was going on, and I don't like to. I kind of found out later who was responsible for the poisoning more than once of my beloved pets, but I didn't find out for sure if it was poisoning until I got out of there, which was going to take place not long. But I went for a little while without knowing. I believe my heavenly Father, our Father, made it so that I didn't know that because I wasn't in the I wasn't in the right spiritual attire to deal with that if I would have known for sure. So I wasn't. I kept telling. Matter of fact, Martinez came over, and when I was starting to have an issue with his friend that sold him the property, I told him, "Here, be careful if you have animals, because he brought me those cats, because we have parvo." So it could have been, and I don't know, maybe just maybe it might have been the first time, but definitely not the second time. Dogs don't get parvo twice, and I made sure I went down to the feed store and got um, the syringes that were already loaded with the medication. They were in the fridge and all that stuff. Matter of fact, I'd go down to the same feed store. I'd get my. They look just like prunes, or not prunes, but dates. Not dates. What are they? Figs. just like figs, like a little hacky sack, like a little shriveled up, little, almost like a little um walnut, just like a walnut. We got a walnut tree down here, big, huge one down in Puyallup. They tie a yellow ribbon around. I mean, big. It's huge. It's as big as this. It's probably a good, probably 12, 16 feet in circumference round. It's huge. It's big. But like a little brown little, and I would get my praying mantises and tie them, and then they'd sell them down there to keep the uh, all the hoppers and different evasive little insects off your plants, not just weed, but any type of vegetation that you're wanting not to be completely decimated, because in California, especially, it's 110 degrees and everything turns brown certain times of the year, except the olive trees that are used to the drought. That's what they're created to do. And then whatever you water, which happens to be your weed, and whatever else you're watering, and so they come. There's nothing, things come from great lengths, even thieves, to get your thieves in all different, and even the mold. Jerry said you got to watch out for the mold and the thieves. I said mold and thieves. He goes, you'll find out. You'll see. And he taught me along the way. But yeah, uh, so I was out there, had some guy there, Joe. I met him also down uh, same flea market as I forgot his name, the guy that got pulled out of the tree that was getting those Oxy 80s, because he knew I wasn't hung up on him. And a matter of fact, he'd left me in that room where he had a bunch of them, and he wouldn't just let anybody around because he knew I didn't, and I didn't know what those were. I had no idea, like I said, and I bring that up because you just I was like, wow, man, we all got. I didn't. It helped me actually. It wasn't so I could judge the guy. I was like, and I never would have thought that about him. I actually prayed for him because I he had a lot of nice stuff, and I know that stuff, man. It'll get you. But yeah, so anyway, he was friends with him. I think his name was Joe, and he had a camper, and he pulled up there and helped me water and stuff like that, because she would help me. Tawana would help, because there was a lot to do when you were growing that much. I finally started because I had my own place, so I wasn't gonna Jerry, he was just up the road there on Cobblestone, and I now I was doing my own thing, but I also realized just how you see exactly who's who when the greed, you could just see it. It's like, I used to play this game. I mastered it almost. It's just me and the owner of the arcade could get even close to him, and I would go neck to neck. Sometimes I would be more than him, and it was a Twilight Zone pinball machine, and it would go greed just like that. And that pinball machine, boy, I would smoke that thing like you wouldn't, like an old bad crack habit. But I heard then that greed, when you and that greed gets in you, because I would always hit that other ball, and it's like greed. But I was able to get around that. But most people, they get greedy. You see exactly what's inside them, just like she said. I knew I was going to get segue back to Miss Hall, and you'll know what's in that heart, because out of that, it's not what goes in. That's what that means. We've brushed over that. They did yesterday also. It's that, and you'll know what's in there. You'll know. People get greedy, and you'll know what's it up in there. You'll see. Ain't nothing I want to bring home to Christmas dinner. And I know all about Christmas being a pagan. It's just a habit. Dang it, I'll be having Christmas every day. Just like you say you keep Sabbath every day. Well, it says 6 days you shall labor, on the seventh day you will rest. So you go ahead and put that one in your little crap pipe and push it. And I say that with all due respect, because let each person let it be settled in their own mind. That's why I don't, people that have their own sexual preferences, besides just because it's all, I know what it says. I just don't. That's not my. It's the demonic forces that's going to be our little deal. Our heavenly Father's going to judge those that got slipped, tripped up, and decided through free will that's how they were going to float their little boat. Speaking of boat, my grandfather would have loved that spot out there. Mike showed me down in Rochester. I used to work at Little Red Barn. Right down there, boy, he would dredge it out. That's what the old man would do. Roy, he would dredge it because he built boats. That's what he did. He built hydroplanes, remote control hydroplanes. Right around the time of the hydroplanes, and they were before the turbine engines. They were loud. You could hear them from the beach, Myrtle Beach and stuff on Lake Washington, all the way up to White Center. And my grandfather, he built these huge hydroplanes, boats that were, 4.5, 5, 6 feet, huge in that sense, 6 feet tall by, 3.5, 4 feet wide, depending, like the Miss Bud and stuff like that. Even before the Miss Bud, like Pan Pack, and we had Pan Pack around here, local stores which got put out of business, and we won't go into detail. Pan Pack, Pan Save, like almost like Payless, and then there was what was the other one that was Ernst Hardware. Went bye. So he would build those. He'd like that. My idea to have, get some start build some pillars and pound in some posts and I missed it. I almost had it again. Order in docks. It's crazy because I not pilings, pier. Anyway, so those, and then have that. Oh, it was neat. It was really neat. Like I said, most of it was just the rainwater, but he would just buzz those boats around. Like I said, I didn't really get to know him really super well because it was so, and then my life was dysfunctional real quick thereafter. But it was a blessing. At least I got to spend some time before he completely passed. But yeah, he would have that. He would those boats. He was really good with doing like woodwork and stuff. Oh, speaking of woodwork, let me grab this. Didn't even intend for that. Let me grab this real quick and show you what he gave me. Speaking of what dude gave me. Speaking of Mike, gave me the couple pieces of cedar, which he kept mentioning doing it when it was dry. Of course, I'm sure you can do anything when it's dry if you have the sharp enough tool. But the book, and I noticed the natives too, they were really adamant about doing them while they were wet. They were easier to carve. Like again, like I said, maybe. Anyway, there's three. He gave me these two pieces, but this one here has three little knots. So I was gonna put a couple faces in here. that dude here, I don't know what. This looks like some cartoon off Scrappy Doo. This looks like one of the goblins in let's see. Yeah, one of the goblins in Scooby Doo, kind of, to me. One little, and then this is one that he gave me, and he smiled at me. He kind of gave me an easy one, and so I just wanted to oblige him. So I did the. I'll start on the other knot as an eye. So it's kind of, I don't know. I'm gonna whittle all this out and just see where the grain of wood takes me. But oh man, I really enjoy the smell of cedar. Oh, it smells so good. It brings me back right to a time and place when I'm in the woods running them saws. We used to get a permit from IP International Paper and Warehouser to get the cedar that was back there. Like I said, when you're the one running the pole, the 7 foot 2 inch pecker pole that we would use, just a little an alder pole, like when we were alder poling for the Reynolds aluminum vats of aluminum. We'd use one of those poles when we happened to be, because different crews are doing different things and different times of season. We're doing different things. So when you're doing that and they got you, because and it's a clear cut and you're going salvaging what's left over, they give permits to do that. And there's a lot of good wood in there, but you only want to go in there when you are the yarder and the choker that's being set and all that, and you're being used as the yarder and the skidder and the whole 9 yards. It can be rough on one's body. So, and thank you for your prayers also, because I can tell you guys have been praying for me, because my body, like I said when I first started, two right at 256, right on. Yeah, I could tell my back's feeling a lot better. Like I said, I know it's warming up a little bit, but it had really not felt like that ever before. It's always hurt a little bit for years, but not. But then there's also, they cast spells. If I used to get my ears ringing on one side, and like I said, not like when you take aspirin too much, or you've got your high blood pressure's up, and it's no, we're not talking about one of them like a floater in your eye and an ear ring that just as it happened to know. I'm talking about they try to hammer away with these. This is a very state right here is just, oh, they'd have had me along to just go with faith and just move. And please, by the 20th, because I've got to do what I've got to. Like I said, I'm not going to be I'm always going to be that dude. I'll always, support you, providing you're not, like I said, hanging little children from. And I know you won't do that. I'm just saying. I'm just being a smart butt. So, so they're getting loud in there. She's home. I'm going to get a bow case, and then I'll tell you about my truck, and then we'll go back to God's way for a minute, because I don't want to forget about my truck. So just to let y'all know, so you guys can pray about this also. Hopefully, this money will go on this car, and I'll get approved for this also, and I'll be able to. I'm getting absolutely blessed if it comes through, and I don't see why it shouldn't. But again, I try not to, one in the hand is better than two in the bush, right? And don't count your chicken, especially if they're being, put in a boot like they were when I was a little boy. Um, so hold on. So, um, let's see. I went from God's way to, anyway, back to God's way. So she comes back. She chimed right in too, and I was, no, nothing at all. Absolutely nothing. The last time I laid on that bed was to watch some Pawn Stars and stuff, and gone. I don't get. I'm good right there because I know It's just a matter of time. But yeah, so she came back. Joe ended up leaving. Uh, um Kayla and all them, they were ended up getting. I didn't. I didn't want them around because, like I said, I could hear them driving. Or I could hear not her. I don't think she had anything. And I know if Angel knew that Brandon was up to that, any shistiness. And it was after I had them get their stuff, because I could just take the stuff out. I got good enough. I got good enough at transplanting to where you wouldn't even know. A lot of people other than they're not in on my property anymore. They're not in the ground on my property anymore. So, and it didn't affect the it didn't affect. I use that Super Thrive and a real, which is awesome. It's all natural and it's kind of spending. You don't want to overdo it because you'll give your plants a toxicity and you'll think that it might be a nutrient deficiency and you'll whack it, slap it right up. But for any kind of transplanting or cuts or starts or anything like that, cloning, I use Super Thrive because I just know that stuff. I've seen it, what it's done. I go by stuff that I've used mostly. If it works, I don't mess. I don't mess with it too much. I'm gonna put this my mug back real quick. Hold on. Yeah, I don't. If it's hold on, I don't mess with it. If it's already fixed and not broken too bad, other than a little adjustment or tweak, then I don't I don't mess with it just because I know better. I've learned that sometimes Steen's stinking tweaking can really mess stuff up. And plus I've watched people do it once they get on a. If it's not, like I said, if it's not broke, I don't mess with it too awful much. Try to improve on a whole lot of stuff, you know, unless it involves souls, winning souls, and stuff like this. So yeah, she comes back. She's hollering right now in there. But I think she's talking to her sister over in she's in Connecticut now. But she's the one with Allie, the Jamaican from down in the Bronx. Come a long way, got off that stuff. That's for sure. That damn meth will get you. He'd tell you. That's why it's okay. I just don't share certain stuff because I'm not led to certain like local musicians and bands and stuff like that. So, but I will when with my with somebody that I know, and I never told just certain people. I never told certain people certain things just to keep them from out from harm's way. Also, like I said, the motto, and if I don't need to know, I don't, I don't want to know just because I don't. But even though it's different type of lifestyle now, it just keeps my eyes on my paper, and it keeps from gossip and stuff like that. And you hear it all the time. You know, if I don't need to, and if I don't, because, and I'm pretty good at put blocking some stuff out, but some stuff is just so nonsensical. It's like, and again, I know judging, like the halls said, I knew I was going to go back here. I could just feel it because I wasn't finished with that. But that plank, and the spec, but it says first. It's like it says if in Revelations, the last three scripture verses, and I believe it's Matthew 7 that says first remove the plank from your own eye so you can see clearly enough. And that's why I put clear choice down there, because that's what it is. There's a choice we have every day, and that's all we're given is a day. That's what secures our eternity. At least that's how I'm seeing it. It's a clear choice for me, and it's settled in my mind. I already know there's no, and I know that's what keeps my ticket punched. That's how salvation is gained. Just living in the moment. That's really what it is. You can't. What are you going to do? You can't for the lilies. They don't clothe themselves, right? And the birds, they don't store up. right? And it's a scary way to live sometimes, I'll tell you. But oh, it's so well worth it. Sometimes it brings you right down to the bargain basement, right there on the floor, right there in that grimy, greasy, grimy gopher gut. But however, not really. This was a well sent. But then I had it lined with stuff. I'd sanitize this thing like an old Mad Hatter, boy, because that's how what the plants wanted. So, but yeah, we'll just go right back into God's way. So yeah, those plants, they were just about ready to get ready, and I had to get rid of some unwanted. I had to wash my hands. I had to see clearly enough to kick the dust because I was dealing with stuff that could have got, they weren't trying to, give a birthday party to anybody, if you know what I mean. There were some of them fools, they would have straight, oh, they would have brought the pinata and everything. They would have been beaten right into it. It would have been over for you with what I had. And that I've got that Hopper's, Manus's grass, Hopper's ass. That was number, I think that was the third time, if those are even considered. I've got that on, I think it's on my Facebook. Man, they turned out to be. And I realized, because I tried finding them ground squirrels for, man, the whole time she was gone. And I was trying to keep up with everything. I was trying to keep up with all the stuff, and like I said, I never ran into another relation. That's what a lot of people do. I never did that. Or otherwise, I would have with Candy, because she came over and picked me up when I needed to go to court early, and that would have been it right there that morning. My son was at school because there was no one else there, and I just knew it. I just know. I know myself. And so, but she still decided to remain my friend because, some women, or the opposite sex, they don't take too kindly to rejection. I guess it's all how you do it, I suppose. And I didn't even know I was good at that, but there it was right there. Because, oh boy, yeah, it was. Yeah. So I shut this here. So moving right along, but yeah, that's big, beautiful buds, huge, huge, just monster Kong dong buds. They were just long dong, big, huge, just slap them senseless. They were, and because I used all my my pig poop, and not too much, and chicken, no cow, because I learned my lesson up at Jerry's. Use cow or horse, and at least if you do, I would make a tea and get all the grass out of it. Because what happened for me, at least in one instance up there in up at Jerry's, is the one of the clumps of cow manure didn't get. I didn't break it down because it was my first time. I didn't know. So, pardon me. So it got something started happening to the. It's weird. Take a drink of coffee and not yawn. But something started happening. Something odd to the plant. Something very strange started taking place to that beautiful plant. Like I said, most everybody went grew from seeds because, like I said, Luke, who ended up receiving the derelict of the children, pardon me, Mike, after he brought the wrong person up when we were in full harvest, and I learned real quick it was okay to, when Skylar wasn't there, to give him a little checkup because it could have cost us our lives. They grew from seed because they got bigger. And like Luke, like I said, Luke had the I don't know what branch of the government it was. They were there for some reason, but they went, "Is that a?" And he knew he was good, but he would, or so he thought anyway. He had no issues from them, but they're the ones that ended up later coming in after everybody built to small and just took everything. But anyway, he did the 16-footer. I think maybe a 24-footer was his record, but from seed, not from clones. And I said that because mine that I had, the the bigger of that first harvest, that Jerry smiled and said, "Oh, you'll be just fine, Roy. You'll." And I was like, "Wow, you know." And then I felt, and that's the way I was supposed to feel. I was supposed to feel guilty because of the greed that was even in. And he didn't charge me nothing. He didn't want anything. He said, "No, I can't have just anybody up here, and I trust you." And it gives Skylar someone to play with, Donnie, which he was quite a bit older than Donnie, and he kept asking when I went up later on. Once we ended up getting to God's Way, and then Craig, where's Donnie? He would say, little Skylar, and I said, "Oh," and Jerry said, "Oh, son, he's a little fat baby." He said, he said, "Donnie's got a girlfriend now," and sure enough, I didn't want to have to, and that's exactly what it was. And we weren't living up there anymore. But that also is what it was. He was wrapped up. He was now getting to enjoy his youth, and at a more mature age than I needed to, for the sake of, so we could be having this conversation, and I wasn't some Fruit Loop like Cupcake or Skittles or let's see, Sunshine, or what's the other ones. But anyway, I'm gonna get off track. So, or is it really off track? We've been over this, right? No, we lay it where we may it. Pardon me, I'm gonna have to take a gander at the goose real quick. Mm-hmm. I know it. I know it to be true. Um. So yeah, she comes back. Of course, perfect timing, right? Comes back, and well, here's the thing: it's my fault, really. After a while, I started saying that, but I never did anything either. I go, you know what? No, 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 no. It's not your fault, because you know how people say, no, no, it really was her fault. But I said, no, no, no. After a while, I started realizing it was, but then I come to another conclusion, and I wasn't eating. I didn't have to eat ramen to come to this one, baby. I said, "Oh no, 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 no! It's not. It's not my. It's not. It's not. It's not your fault anymore. It's my fault because I keep letting you back in here like a fool. I keep letting you back in here, and I'm building these small little legit empires, trying to keep out of these doing mischievous things that it's what I'm good at, or think that's all I'm good at doing because that's the programming in which I was shoveled. Yet I ain't going over to the dark side, and they know that too. So they're like, "Ah, just get that son of a gun." They can't. They couldn't the whole time. I realize now, and so bringing it right back in. That's the first time when it was harvest time that I seen that. Isn't that crazy? That psychological warfare, big thick book, kind of like a Stephen King book novel. Unravel. Isn't that crazy? Remember I told you what those golf balls do when you cut them in half? I got a bunch of them right here. You cut them. The ones when I used to put them in the vise and cut them all the way around and pull that outer white layer off, and there was a rubber band. It would just ding, 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 and then you'd finally get to that ball. And seriously, that thing would, once it started coming unraveled. Anyway, so she comes back in. I let her back in. What did I just say? Didn't I just? Look, didn't I just learn anything? Apparently not. I'd already forgotten. Do you see how easy it is to do when you're when you're eating out of the wrong trough, as it were? Because I had cattle, and they were, I had to. I was like, no, no, because when you get up in here, you're not going to be able to get out of my house. I love you guys, and you might crap on it. And this isn't like, Rosie. She didn't poop, and she did her little thing, and then out she went. But uh, she comes back huge harvest like you would not just. And this is the ground squirrels were just meleeing me. They were just laying waste to these plants were producing, like I said, and this was before I even really learned how to really kick it up a notch. Old Emerald. Wasn't it him who brought up Emerald? Bam! I liked old Emerald. I think it was Mr. L that was bringing up. But once I started learning how to really, but these were already, they were still, because I didn't like spraying with formaldehyde, the old mallow dip. Mike's mom used to give the dogs. He said, just dilute it with, and I did, and it was killing them suckers. Did you do this, Roy? I said, Jerry, I would never do that. Now he's handing me his scissors. It's funny when he starts seeing what would happen. But anyway, so seeds just genetically get bigger. But the clones, what those are going to be. There's no guesswork. But you're not going to get as much in your harvest, not even close. So there's always those just like, oh, I'm moving. I moved here so I could get out of the rain, or I moved here so I could see the mountain. You always trade. Isn't it funny how it's that way? It's never greener. You might experience something different, but you're never, it's not like just like a Wilk. It was the same nut for Wilk Chamberlain, right? It was the same, they all degraded themselves and fornicated and committed all in front and for the sake of what a quick little squirrel got a nut and it was all the same. It was the same unless you know the truth, and that'll set you so free. The floodgates will kaboom. Want to talk about bam? Emerald used to just watch him. I liked watching all that stuff because I always really liked cooking. I like why it's fun watching people eat stuff you've prepared. I see now why little Miss Babylonian she can she can sometimes even in her worst she just makes me smile because she really enjoys having watching people eat her stuff and it brings people together. It's Last Supper. It's why we're going to have a banquet feast, why he's the groom, we're the bride. There's a metaphor for the whole thing. There's a whole, and it's going to be like that for eternity. And I heard Casey also say that it's not going to be, of course not, because there's so many. Time is multi-directional. It's multi-dimensional. It's different than what you. Once you're clothed in complete righteousness, you're gonna adhere to and just become that full reflection. And it's gonna be so amazing that I can feel it right now. It's just gonna, and that euphoric feeling that we've been given the gift through the through that what we experience as sex, which is lovemaking, the same that we're going to experience. That's just a small. People are like, are you actually, I cannot have my child watch. I've said it before. That's just a small taste, and that's what people that say, oh, we have this benevolent, and it's no, there's a reason why we get a sensation like that, and most people are just being cheated of it. They're being cheated and they're like, oh, well, the more I have, it's going to be, and it's all the same. It's all the same thing. You notice that until you're with someone you're supposed to be. So you make sure that you, like I say, make sure you, oh, and speaking of Vi, where's that piece of paper? You notice how that Steve Vai, and I shared that because that's a good clean movie that you could have your children watch. And I remember it came to mind, so I shared it, and then waited to share it on my Facebook, so people could decide to watch it if they wanted to. And I remember that in the hospital deal, I really, for some reason, just there's something about that hospital, him breaking him out of there, that I just kind of reminded me when I was in that Masonic home in some ways, and then there's so many different I can identify with that aspect of the movie, and the old boy dogging him with the rolled up newspaper, and manipulating him to get him out of there, and but the young man, he wanted so bad to learn this, the old ways of the blues and the old harp. So that's why I did that. That's why. Would you like some candy? No, Hadley, hold on. That was Hadley. I taught her how to write, do her other mom, and her mom's name, my daughter and her. So anyway, yeah, I started learning how to really, uh, not only fight the ground squirrels, which was a nightmare, the cattle, which wanted to eat the only thing that was green. I kept them fed. I fed them inside my 2-car garage that I had out there. You can see it. It's still. I've seen it from the Google, the aerials. Um, and I believe it's still this same exact, except the structures that were out in back 40. Um, but yeah, those things they were quite the monsters, and I would have had to haul some people. I would have had to get people in there to help me with doing all that, because there was a lot of work that I would not have been able to process, uh, myself, in the time that I would have needed to before the mold, because that's what he said when Jerry said the mold and the thieves. The mold and the thieves. I kept thinking, what is it? The rust and the moth and the thief. The rust. It kept reminding me of the. He goes, it's the thieves. You got to watch out for the thieves, and then the mold. And he wasn't kidding. It's that mold. Nobody wants to buy moldy medicate pot. Nobody wants moldy pot, and it takes a second, just like the spider mites. Once you'll always have, just like I was telling Craig the other day, my buddy, when I went into Seattle, he had me go down and look at. He has a bunch of. He said, "You're the reason why I'm doing this." He does it. He does it legally for the. But still, he's. And I said, "You got this. You got a deficiency there. Cal Mag, you'll get out of your." And I wasn't trying to show off. He says, "I know. I started it," and he told me that a long time ago. He says, "I told my son about that deficiency." I said, "Oh yeah, that's not a toxicity. You just give it a little molasses, and it'll snap right out of that." But I learned that stuff because you have to. People don't, once they're in full bloom like that, even if you're cool with them and from the beginning, it's hard to get people to get away from their stuff once they're in full bloom, to look at something that they could potentially help you with, and might, if they were and it was a different time frame than you were in full bloom, because they don't, people just don't. They change. You'd have to be up there to see. It's not that they're being rude. It's just how it is. So she comes back, and I've already just completely just found out what it's like to navigate all the other stuff that I'm learning about, and I know now exactly why Mr. Martin offered to give me, because he wanted me to he did want me to grow there. Now the neighbor, who is Mexican friend there, didn't. He started. Now maybe he did it first, because see, that's how I would have paid. And I found out, little bird told me later, you just get this sometimes our Heavenly Father will give you things that He didn't want you to know then, now, so that you could see He's been there the whole time. So you'll exercise a little more faith now. I've just realized that. And plus, then some decisions that I made that were not the best decisions, and so there's consequences to those actions. And sometimes there are and a lot of times there are lasting and effects to those decisions that we're having to still, at least I am, have to be reminded of. It's just That's just the way it is. So it's, once that's why it said you'd be a fool. So, and then here I let her back in. Speaking of fool, what a fool believes, right? So we get this stuff all trimmed up, and I go up, and we move uh quite the I started learning about Amtrak. I started learning about Amtrak because in between that harvest, I was also um, getting people. I was meeting people that had stuff from 2 and 3 harvests before. They grew so much and they didn't smoke. Or I knew somebody that didn't smoke at all. They just liked the way it looked and how it grew. They thought it was pretty, and I'm serious. They grew it like flowers, and they would and they didn't trust anybody, and they were very well off and didn't even need it. They didn't care. But they took a shine to me, and they were giving it to me that was so ridiculously cheap. I couldn't believe it. I had to go back and retrim it a little bit, but it was some, it was stuff I could get 2,500 a pound for easy. So that's how much I would charge for mine, that I was getting 3,200 a pound for after a while, once I was started to grow enough to where. But anyway, yeah. So, and then I got to know people that were on there. Like I said, these people were just like you and I, and some were more like I back then than they were you, or some of you anyway. And they were just really good people. Most of them were minority. It's not important what type, but all types. And uh, I had a worse experience with the Caucasians in there, because the mills are so dang expensive. But after they see you so much, it's just like, after they see you at 7 feathers, you go up, and you just get tired after a while. You just get tired of driving. You just want to just relax. And it's say, and I they could have easily did a lot of different things to make my trip. I've only been asked to get off that train one time. What, baby? I only been asked to get up. I only been asked to get off the train one time, and I had been drinking too much this time. And they were very kind and did not just let me off where they could have let me off, but let me off in, I think it was Eugene, with a whole bunch of stuff. And I thank the good Heavenly Father I had enough sense in a senseless, dumb frame of mind to get a motel, and I think that was the deal. And I think that's what I heard them say when they said, okay, now you go, when this train goes, may wait till it goes, you go right across the street and get them. And I did. And then you can catch the train tomorrow when it comes through, which I think, was it the next day, or was it, maybe it was, anyway, it was the next train. I think it was me. No, it might have been. Oh no, I do know what happened. I had Forrest come down and get me. That's what it was. But I had enough sense to go to the motel, and they said I could take the next train that comes through out of Clarksville. But I called Forrest and had him come down. That's right, because I was heading that way anyway. So he made that. I think it was a 3.5 4 hour trip. That's what happened. I called old Tree Boy. But they let me off where they didn't they let me off where they didn't have to. I know that for a fact, and it was close to a motel because I woke up with a pounding headache, and that place just a reeking. And I looked, I unzipped my stuff. I'm like, oh my god, where was I at? And then I realized, then it started. You know how it starts start you start getting the full flavor of that bad taste in your mouth. You're like, oh man, see, and this is what happened. This is why I try not to scratch that first ticket. They're all losers, you know. They're all just designed to get into your pocket and make you think you're all pretty and this and that, so you can drop your inhibitions, and next thing you know, you're just getting freakified. So an old Wilk is all up in your chamber. So, anyway, I'm gonna get off here pretty soon because I want to spend some time there. They keep popping in here, and I just want to. I'll go over the truck here in a bit, but I want to say she come back and help me trim. I learned a whole bunch and found out just how big those darn things, and those were in limited holes. And I learned that it's not about the depth so much as it is that because they grow like mats, uh, so within reason. And um, I still had the Mazda. I had to put a CV axle in. It's the first time I ever had to do one of them out of necessity. I found out that I could do it. I just had to go get. I had most of the tools except the axle socket and pinch bolt, and that was it. Control arm and the ball joint, and it was just to yank that thing up. But then I over torqued it, and then had to I paid my nephew to do it for us when I ended up. But anyway, yeah, I only was asked to get off that train one time, and should have been asked to get off more than once. Very nice individuals, put up with a lot of crap. They will, but they won't put up with drinking. Nope, and neither should you if you get some. Just stay. If it causes you to then get away from it. Some people don't have an issue with it, but yeah. So I'm gonna wrap this up because the little boy is beckoning, and Hadley's here. She's turned out to be a fine young girl, and soon to be a young lady. I think she's 9. I think now, maybe 10. But I love you guys, and let's see. What was I was gonna brush up on something real quick. I was gonna go back to um, was it Oregon and a 7 feathers. Um, let's see. Something about. I'll get to it next time. Anyway, so um, it was nice being able to spend time with you, and I put in a new little backdrop. I got some that picture I taken and put on Facebook of my little Lily, and that picture of my grandma Marge. And like I said, in that one, I believe also she was almost completely blind. Looked just like it looks just like her, just a little bit. With sometimes when her lips are, she doesn't fuss that much either, which is a good thing. But like I said, just a little her little round face and stuff. So it was a blessing. I got to spend a little time with Mikey too. He was here today taking care of the baby and Hadley, and he's got her for the weekend. So it was nice. It was a nice deal, and I got to clean out the truck. That's what I was gonna. I got to clean out my water uh, barrels I got from Alonzo. I'm gonna be taking those with me, the good Lord willing. It's good to have uh, some good vessels, some good containers to store water, and so the truck, yeah. Turn the hubs. I already mentioned that on the chat, and I think I just mentioned that earlier. So the hubs and then the discs. So this might be depleting. Oh, but the blessing is the new tires. I won't just be getting a really nice set of used tires that were going to be pretty meaty. I already looked at a couple used tire shops, but I'm like, hey, do you buy? I didn't want to push it because, like I said, this guy's he's already going out of his way, and it's just another blessing from a good old friend and just a good. It's just a it's a with all honor, glory, and praise to our heavenly King, becoming us, all of us. He his friend has a tire shop and he don't do used tires and he's already got him willing to give me a whole set of brand new tires. I think I might have mentioned that. So that's gonna be really nice. So the used ones were a good 65, 70%, but these are nice. I seen a set at his house that were 17s, but still he goes, they're just like these. I'm like, wow, those still have the stickers on. He goes, yeah, this guy there, he don't do used tires. He does just the new ones, which is that's where I've like I said, I've never had new tires. Only once, pardon me, only one time at Walmart, long time ago. The guy said, "Do you want the white walls in or out?" I said, "On this old thing." So, and they were only, I think it was there was a special on them. I think it was only $100 was the special. I couldn't believe it was a long time ago. Cecilia was just a baby. Matter of fact, that's when she had that little cigarette butt. I got a picture of that. I was like, "Oh, you want to smoke, huh?" And she was like, "Uh huh." And I didn't smoke. Tawana didn't smoke. She does now. But I was like, "Oh, you want to smoke, huh?" She's like, "Uh huh." My little towhead. She's so pretty. She says she's a beautiful little girl. So anyway, okay. Well, I'm gonna let you all go. And the truck, like I said, it's got such a blessing. It ran really well, really, really well. I went around, did a little memory lane, just driving on my way back. On my way back though, because like I said, I had to run. I've been running this it's pretty funny. This little trip permit. I'll explain a little. I'll explain. I'm just waiting. I gotta get. He should be sending me an address. Dean. Oh, Dean Summers. He's got the exact same initials. I knew he DS, but then he has R2, D2. So where we were. We were in R2D2. Long time ago, first time around in prison. Okay, I love you guys. Truck's a blessing. Got 700,000 miles to put on it. Not afraid to share the address, the phone number. Although they got it slapped up, I'll be sharing my uh, email. I get stuff from the weirdest places faithfully, but not all the time through my email, which is steenroy49 at gmail. And like I said, I had to change it. It was Roy Steen, the opposite, at 48 at Yahoo. I think it was, but I had to change it because I've had to change a lot of stuff up until just about the last 5 years when I finally just said, "That's it. I'm just really done." Not just saying I'm done, and then 3, 4, 5 months later, that's just got that's like that is straight mad slam dan madness. That's talking about fucking. Oh, did I just say the F word? Oh my goodness. I just said the F word. Talk about madness. The whole flam damly. That would stir up the whole flam damly, the whole damn family. That's what I was gonna say with Dan. The whole flam damly. That's what Bill used to say, like the whole damn family. Oh gosh, I said the F word. Oh, please forgive me. Please, please, please. I only said that one time. Remember that a long time ago, Millie, when I said, please forgive me, when I said, speak where I, you know, forgot you last. Find her, fill her, F her, forget her. That's so mean. Those, I couldn't believe I had friends that used to listen to that stuff. I said, are you guys serious? The mentors? Just completely degrading. Okay, I love you guys. So that's it. Truck running great. Just got to make sure I put some stuff on the whatchamacallit, getting the rear end all greased up, new tires, the brakes all the way around, got those in the front seat ready to go. Monday it's all happening. So it's happening. I'm heading out that way and I can't wait. Casey, you got so I looked today when you said Ozarks. I looked, it's like 200 miles away from Arkadelphia, but I'll be doing I'll just be doing what the Lord has, like I said, that was the vision I had, and it was a grand movement, and I didn't even know who that. It was. It's amazing all the stuff that's and things change. So I don't know. I live in the moment, and it's been working for me so far. I'm just absolutely privileged and thankful to be alive. When I say that, people, I mean that day in, day out. I don't go and take a swirl and this and that. Otherwise, I'd be on here going, oh my God, I got to make a quick confession. You guys are my confessional. You guys are my confessional. You'll know. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. That's what the truth makes you what? Free. And it helps other people out. It helps make that, helps in making there, and we're to build each other up. And how do we do it? Through confession. Be prepared in and out of season to give an account. When they see that heat, that light, they see in your eyes, when they see that, well, be prepared in and out of season to give an account. And that, what's that season? What is that season? In and out of season, when you feel or not necessarily feel like it. That's why it's important to Galatians 5:16 yourself. Walk in the spirit so you don't have to fulfill the lust of the flesh. It's a temptation. It's not easy, but it's definitely, you don't want to be cheesy, because that's one of them walks that old Michael Jackson would definitely be. Oh yeah, they shut people down for a reason, and then they mock. They mock, just like poor old Robin. I didn't even realize that, Mr. L, until I was like, oh my gosh, and see, that's just how this works. Yep, it's parts of the same body, different parts, same body. It's amazing. Okay, anyway, I love you guys, and yeah, wow, your hair, Jesus, man, you are just, but you're always, even, and I knew when I was in prison. I don't know if you got, when I first got handed over, and I was in the R unit. I was actually on one of the better sides. I mean, as far as, because R1, 2, and 3, it was crap hole. Don't get me wrong. But the Lord made it to where I was able to see the sun, and the birds would come in. I was able to feed them from my bars, and I knew, and I hope and I believe that you got this letter, and I was writing, and sometimes I would get help with the spelling. Sometimes the Lord, like, just let it roll. Don't worry about it. Just go. She'll know. She'll appreciate the fact that you're just being yourself. And I was like, well, I'll get return to sender if it's gonna, or they'll come and they'll say, hey, check it out. Now you got a new charge. You're stalking. There's a, because I've sent quite a few, almost probably 20 or maybe a little more. Like I said, I'm bad with numbers, so don't if that's but it's always been 5 years. My pursuit of you, my sweet love. Um, please, man, don't let that. If it means anything, just please. So, and I don't find myself. I don't. It's not bad. I'm just trying. I'm being polite. That sun was coming right on through, and I wrote because I had this feeling that, like most women, of course, that's a gimme. People can say that's one of them Nostradamus predictions. It's just it's a one of them. You can just pretty much just anything will fit type thing. Okay, I'll give you that. But that day, something told me that it's that hair thing, and the Lord says, even if she really was having a bad hair day, could you see that? And I said, no, I've seen her with that. And I'm serious. When you were doing the promoting those products for, I think it was Alex in that tub, and it doesn't matter what kind of, you just look, you look beautiful no matter what you, and like I said, until that reverse osmosis, and he's a miracle worker, so I'm not, that's why I'm not. And I could get carnal and going, why didn't I could say a lot of things and ask a lot of questions, but I have complete faith. Either way, it doesn't matter. We both win because we know the man with the upper hand. And once you start completely receiving the full truth, you'll know it's not gonna matter either way. That's why I wouldn't. I know enough. I could never play some underhanded stuff. That's, even though I know you did some, and I said all is fair in love and war. That's yes. I said to an extent, within reason. Uh, so, but that's just, and women, they. What did he say? Mr. L said, and it's in the Bible. He said, "Hell or something have no scorn like a woman's." But you don't want to, I've heard people, they'll use the fact that they might be on a certain time of their, and so that, well, that's really no excuse. It might be some reason, but try to keep yourself in check. Now I understand. I know it would be like, you know the most grossest illustration of childbearing would be taking my, and Cosby, he illustrates it so nicely, taking your bottom lip and stretching it over your head. But yeah, that's why I did that crossroad, because I was led to, and then there it was, and then Steve Vai, as in Stevie, you know Stevie, and some other things. My heart just started racing. Um, but there's a whole bunch of, we could sit and do this for, anyway. I love you. I'm gonna let you go for just now till next time. And that's why the deal with the address, I'm not worried about it. I'm not trying to, and I'm also not trying to, it's gonna happen anyway. We're all going to meet eventually. I know. So I'm just doing what I'm led to do. I would have been rolling already long before if this hadn't have happened. Long before. Long before. But the enemy, you seen to it that, and now it's like it hasn't been able to hatch its little plan. Okay, I see him pitter pattern here. I love you. I love you, Millie. Thank you, Tori. And like I said, you'll you'll come to, and a lot of people, I want to thank a lot of people, but I'll run one tomorrow, the good Lord willing. Let's see, Sunday tomorrow, first day of the week. Absolutely. I've got to get some things done. I did do a little bit of, like I said, I cleaned out those, bleached those out. Just get those ready. But I think my son's on his way home. That car he was building, um, well, I'll tell you that next time around. But yeah, he's going to be bringing that home and getting a paint job. I'm so proud of him. He's doing well for 28, considering all the obstacles and challenges and hurdles that his dad has senselessly and had needlessly and just preventably, um, uh, uh, did I say, it doesn't matter. Anyway, he's my boy. What the mailman hasn't got here yet, and he looked at me, and still to this day he brings up stuff that I have forgotten. He's got such a good sense of humor. He really does. It's just a blessing to be uh, to even be educated by him, just to watch him grow up, and even the challenges in a dysfunctional, just watch some things I weren't able to through his eyes, and gain knowledge and a bit of experience, uh, even in that time frame as a young man, 28 years old. It's nice, it's a privilege to be able to experience that and be close enough with my boy now and my son to where he can share certain things with me, and he'll actually answer his phone when I call. And it's just, it's nice to become that person, that, and the father, and the the uh the shelter, and the and everything else that I might be, that I'm not aware of but will be soon enough. So thank you guys, and thank you, son. And yeah, Mr. L, thank you very much. And boy, very a lot of talent there. It's a pleasure just listening to you. I go out here, and I I put that back. I try not to turn the heat up too high in the morning because everybody's under their covers. So I want to keep it kind of toasty in here, but I want to be able to hear. And this thing only gets so loud, even though I do have a small pair of satellite external speakers. I have to pull that back, and I just sacrifice the heat, just so that I can hear, what I can. And yeah, you got me, you got me cracking up sometimes with those. I can definitely tell you have lived, and I believe, I could be completely wrong, but I believe you've curved your talent and honed your talent for Cuban, and Puerto Rican, and Mexican, and just all different kinds of different uh, comedic lingo, and interpretation, and it's just fun watching you just perform, and just be yourself. Just be yourself, because you don't edit it. A lot of people don't do that. They have a whole little, you can tell you don't set up. And for people that do, that's fine. Hey, that's great. That's you. At least you're out there. You're not hiding behind a fake, and you respond to. No pun intended. I'm just saying, people do. They step out, but, and it's got to be, it's got to be a challenge in stepping out on faith, and whether you know it or not, because there's a lot of people I support that I'm sure don't. They're still kind of, wondering about the whole "is there a God" thing, and they're standing out on faith. We're exercising faith of some sort. I've seen them people. They're those demonic. They've got faith, but they just are. Their faith is way misplaced. They're not. They're mistaken. But they they know. Here's the thing. They know, they just don't know the whole full. They know what they're doing is completely contrary to what their own God-given senses and conscience and their heart is telling them what's carnally right. Even though they're driven by a demonic spirit, they know, and their minds have been seared. What has been completely and it blew me away until it took me about a day to get over it, is the deception, and how deep the deception goes, even amongst its own, with the minions, that it's got all the most of the world deceived over, that it's going to and the elite, in this sense mostly, that it's going to um, uh, that's going to reverse all the trauma that Mother Earth has suffered in this illusion that it's creating, to so that we won't even, it's more than just to control us. I thought it was to control us also. That's what I thought at first. And this is more, I'll just say this is more in my opinion. I thought it was about money. Nope, it control. Yeah, it's about killing you. It's about destroying you. That's what it's about. It's about eliminating you. And it doesn't need you around. It has its own little ideas. It ain't getting none of that, because there wouldn't have been hardly anything for our heavenly Father to return to it. And he ain't having that. That report come back, and once it thinned out to the point where there would be no flip, it wasn't happening. And so now there's things taking place in a sense that I didn't think it was going to be possible, with that reversal of that Brandy syndrome, which I wanted to share about with uh when somebody said on the chat, F Brandy. It had nothing to do with sex. It was actually Karen. It was Karen. It was a Kraken Karen, but I call her Brandy because the things that bring back or Boris, bring back Boris or Barabbas. Anyway, I'm going to let you go so that I can get out here with my babies, and just for you, folks, that, and also you, my beloved over there on Now You See TV. That was awesome. Your guys's, Friday night with Mr. and Mrs. Hall. It was awesome. Did you see? I was only led to watch part of that chat. I went back today and I listened to that as just a kind of like a Bible study. I got more out of it this time than the first time. Not more, but yes, more, but something different. It kind of enhanced the second time around. But it offered me an opportunity, and then I was led to watch the chat, and so I realized that yes, the enemy, how it tries to distract and pull you away from the Bible study with just stuff about flat earth and stuff, and even how subtle and how it does that, it'll tell you everything you need to know. You'll notice on what it sends too. I could show you, oh, here, I could show you right now a bunch of stuff, and even the timing. Like, oh yeah, this is great. Oh, they just carpet bombed me here. They just carpet bombed me here. So okay, let's see. Shocking birth. Let's see. Beloved birth. Always this. Oh, now they're using beloved a lot. Remember. Uh, take a deep breath before you. Oh, just all kinds of. And this is stupid little stuff. They're showing me what they're sending, stuff like they're sending you, but that's so mild. They would actually send these henchmen out, have been for years, and they can't do nothing. They go back and say, "Oh man, you you deal with this one. You deal with that one, and you got to leave this one alone," because they could tell right away. Anyway, I got to go. I don't know. Bring back. I think that's Boris. I don't even. I don't know. But I'm just gonna. It's always that distraction. Maybe it's from. It might be a. But maybe not. It says one here, and I don't know. I don't know if my. You don't. You don't. Oh, I don't play money. Bring back. Well, I don't. I play money because money don't play me, fool. I play that stuff like it's either not black or red, it's black or white. Okay, I'm gonna let you go. I love you guys, and I know there's a couple other things I wanted to. Now we're almost at 4. but I want to get this brushed by, and because I got a whole new segment to peel. Did I tell you? I told you about that, right? About the chocolate covered, about the over at Johnson's Candy. Gosh, she used to make some just awesome stuff. Anyway, I love you guys. I'll let you go. And till next time. And yeah, email. As soon as I get a secure email and platform, I'll be pushing it even more because it's time we meet. You never know. I'm gonna be making this round. A lot of good things are gonna be taking place. But again, I just live day to day. That's how I've been gifted with and also just the comfort knowing that things they're working out just like they always have. I would have never been released. Never. Even though I was completely innocent. They did not even they had to do a mandate to get me into court. And the judge, oh boy, what a blessing. Oh, what a blessing. She had that. She had the habeas corpus too. She had that. She let me know she had that in her hand. That would have been the next card because I just know Mary and all them. I know they were. We all work together, people. We all pray, and so yeah. Thank you very much. I just got that too. I'm gonna delete. You could just see there's just so much. Anyway, they just send. There was probably, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Just within no time at all. I never get stuff like that. I can never get a. Um, I was not able years ago to get a chat in. I called them short chat bursts because I couldn't get a chat without something simple being changed. And like I said, it wasn't Thumbelina. I could see it being changed. And yes, I got sleep. And I was supposed to get many people coming in. I thought, man, I got to get somewhere. And the Lord said, you go down there and see old Axel Grease. He said, he's an intern for 15 people. Anyway, and then I seen her and I went, wow, man, are you serious? Never had seen that before. You see, I always thought once I got away from you know who, got to get away from you know who. That's the only Foreigner song that I'd be with. You know, I won't say that because it might piss you off. But after the 20th, and she'll just. I have a feeling you'll probably end up. And if not, that's like I said. I just gotta. It's nothing to do with it. I don't do that. Like I said, my heart. Did you hear them? The intent of your heart, because that's what comes out of a person's mouth. Do you think the Lord is going to bless me and allow me to perform this very same things that a lot of you people are going to be performing? That's what it's trying to keep us from doing, uniting, so that we can win souls for our the banquet feast. So we can populate this whole thing spiritually speaking, because we're getting new bodies anyway. We're not going to be growing old or any of that stuff. Okay, anyway, I love you. I got to go because now we're at 307. Ooh, 307, 57, baby. Hans 57. Uh-huh. And yeah, I love you guys. I'm going to go. Jack and peace. And I noticed too, and I'm not going to say any names, I noticed how sometimes you don't want to just get off, looking or believing you look stupid. Kind of like he said, feeling stupid after that's what that weed does. It makes you feel stupid. And it does. It does. I agree. So you just kind of just, without any indication, but I am not, and I'm not browbeating anybody, but that's the way you want to roll. Just however you just you lay it how you get it. So I love you guys, and like I said, be praying for me on the way down on the 15th. Unless, like I said, things change. things change, but I plan on meeting people at the this Puritan barn. I want to visit. I got all places I've lived. I want to just make. I got people in Florida I want to see, and I still want to make that salmon dinner if that's all good for Tori. But like I said, I can't. I can't force people to even if it has nothing to do with Millie's decision. Her not, that'll be her decision. I still, when I say something, I mean it because I don't, you know, um, although salmon isn't that hard to cook, and it's people to change, and so, but that is my intent, and I intend to do that today as I did yesterday, and I pray that that would be it for tomorrow, regardless. So I have rounds that I see I'm going to be making, and Maine is another one of them. God, I'd be so honored to meet sooner than later, Mr. Fellers, Zach, be awesome, and that's gonna happen sooner or later. So anyway, I gotta go. I love you guys. Be right. I'll be back. When I say be right back, when I say be back, it's because I don't want to miss anything, and I really do. I don't sit there and look. You guys, you'll know because you're gonna see everything. You're gonna see it all. This My computer is old. It doesn't. I don't have the technology most of you do. So I can't see myself the way I said. Even when I went down to Axel, I want to see you guys in a better way because he had that up and coming studio and it was looking. I just didn't like the way he was moving around. I just knew he was talking to Ashley wrong and Leanne and God, all that. Oh, and the cute little puppy Leanne had, the little puppy that was in her. Oh, and from long, but he had a chance like everybody else. Okay, I love you guys. I gotta go. Gotta go.